Well, we'll build a case for that. Let's keep going. Check this out. Here's some 5G towers that we took pictures of. I wanted to spell this out. People don't know 5G. What is it? When you see stuff like this, I think we've got a bunch of pictures, and we've definitely got some video coming up. So when you see 5G towers, you know what they are. Does everyone in this room know what this is?
All over Cleveland.
All over the place. And these all started popping up when? March of last year, when your schools and your churches and your universities and your hotels were all shut down. These things were going up at the speed of light, literally, and they were going on top of your dormitories at college. They were going on top of your hotels, like mounted from the top. And there would be many reports of white vans being pulled up outside schools and, high schools and grade schools and things like that. And these would be just installed overnight. Nobody knew who they were. Nobody knew where they were coming from. You'd see videos of here's the school and here's the next day. And this was the only difference. So next do we have any more pictures? Yeah. So you'll see a lot more. I didn't want to bore you with pictures, but the 5G tower pictures, those went up real quick. So this is a this is a time for intentional living rather than any type of emotional panic. A lot of people are living in fear. We'll discuss that. Share this information with the people you love. In time, perhaps we're going to maybe swing the pendulum and awaken enough people to the real threats that are coming from all of this increasing 5G and the increasing levels of EMF exposure. So tonight, we will discuss why we can no longer ignore the dangers of 5G or EMFs. I'll use them interchangeably, 5G, EMFs. We'll talk about what EMFs are. How many of you in this room, by show of hands only, heard about the Travis Scott, I didn't even know who the dude was, but the Astro World concert that happened 2 weeks ago? Everybody, wow, right on. You guys are very informed. This is very nice. So what was happening there? Who knows? Could it have been a 5G rollout with a bunch of dead people that had just gotten shot up? Yeah, could be. Could it have been handled better? Probably. But were we hearing the truth from the media about what was going on? According to eyewitnesses that were there and a lot of people on the internet, no, we weren't hearing the truth. So that being said, we can no longer ignore the dangers of EMFs, because what if we could use this stuff as mind control? What if, just say, that people were injected with certain submicroscopic nanoparticles that maybe perhaps could self-assemble and maybe be controlled by electromagnetic fields? Do we have the technology to do that now? Do we have the patents available, widely available on the internet to view, that prove to us that we have the military technology to inject something into someone and then control their mood and their heart rate and their physiology by an electromagnetic field? Yep. Yes, we do. So is this a conspiracy theory, what I'm talking about? Is this widely published in the scientific literature and available to anyone who wants to see it? It's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. So why protecting yourself? Tonight we'll discuss why protecting yourself from this should be a top priority, right? Effective ways to combat this electromagnetic field toxicity before it's too late. Think about it. Think about it. And then treatments, supplements, and detoxification solutions to increase your chances of survival. How many of you want to know all this stuff? Fabulous. We're going to fly. So I've shown this before. I have to show it again. We have to do this as a preface to pretty much every class now, because I get so many people coming in here and going, man, people are changing. And I go, yep, and here's why. People are indoctrinated by the television, the media, et cetera, even the internet. You try to search something on Google, do you find the truth? You find what they want you to see, period, end of story. Number two, they're fluoridated. Why do you think we're doing a class on water on December 5th, what is that, December 15th, called You're Full of It? Your water, 80% of your body is water. So if you're drinking crappy water, what's going to happen to your physiology? What's going to happen to your health? Yeah, if you're still drinking tap water, we got to change that, big time. So they're fluoridated. They don't even know it. And that's just one thing. What about chlorine? What about the rust? What about the other crap? I just use that as an example. They're indoctrinated in the mind. They're indoctrinated in the water that makes up their mind. Number three, they're medicated. So they're taking toxic pharmaceutical poisons, promising them health, but are actually causing them side effects which lead to another medical diagnosis, which leads to another drug. Yes or yes? Yes. Then on top of that, now they're getting vaccinated for a disease with a 99.9% survival rate for something that they can't prove exists, that scientists all over the world have said, we don't have an actual purified, isolated sample of this virus. Yet there are people standing in line now sacrificing demonically their children from 5 to 11 years old out of fear of a virus that they'll never get because it doesn't hurt kids. If it is even a virus and if you even had it, right? On top of all the flu shots, MMR, DPT, DTaP, everything else, now they're getting an experimental bioweapon, nanoparticle gene modification therapy that they're calling a vaccine. Yeah. On top of that, glyphosate Roundup made by Monsanto, which is now merged with Bayer, another massive German pharmaceutical company, along with Merck and Pfizer and Glaxo and all the others that were shipped over here from Nazi land. It's in charge of your healthcare. Glyphosate is sprayed on a lot of your food. So when people say, well, I like my bread, my cake, and my candy, and my pasta, and my bagels, and my donuts, and my cereal, they're really getting glyphosated. Gluten is not a problem. Glyphosate is a problem. Number 6, they're smearing cosmetics on all of their orifices and then wondering why they have headaches, and among other thyroid problems and this and that. Number 7, they're sedated by the same food that is covered in pesticides and genetically modified, so they're sedated by the chemicals and the additives and everything else. Now, that's then irradiated. That's the topic of tonight. Tonight's topic, we're not just talking about microwaving your food, we're talking about holding the cell phone next to your head and wondering why you have a headache, and 5G and all the stuff you're sleeping next to and thinking about, you know, with your video games and your VR goggles and everything else. So these here, there's 8 good reasons. I can't think of any more. I put them all pretty much in those 8 categories, and I've thought, why are people not really thinking cognitively? Why is our IQ dropping regularly on a daily basis? Go to a store and watch people, but now they're covering up their airways and getting less oxygen. So I think I have to add something to this, because a mask, suffocated, that's a good one. I like that. So I might have to just add something, because I thought everything up until this point, I thought everything kind of fit in these categories. But why are some of you not invited to your Thanksgiving? Why are families being torn apart? It is very likely that your coworkers and family members have differing views, at least in part, due to the list above. Effects of the above will lead to medical misdiagnosis and inevitable drugging for life. Families and workplaces are in conflict over 2 things: misunderstood human physiology and fraudulent science. So right here, if you wonder why you can't talk to Aunt Bessie, how many meds is she on? And then does she eat crap food? Because if you eat crap food and your brain functions upon the food, according to the food that you eat, and you're eating crap food, and you're taking toxic chemical pharmaceutical poisons, and you're taking a sterilizing agent that is known scientifically to decrease your IQ, and you're watching crappy news by crappy people who have crappy ideas about doing crappy things to you, how long do you think this is going to last? How often do you think you're going to have an intelligent conversation with someone who hands themselves over on the altar of chemical lobotomies? You're not. You're not. It's sad. I know. It sucks. We all have people, we all have friends, we all have family members that sheep and goats, they decided, 2 years ago, and probably some of them decided long before that. And you just probably couldn't put your finger on, why are they not listening? Why do we not communicate effectively? Right here. Next slide, pretty please. So don't beat yourself up about it. But I'll tell you this, I don't get into fights. I don't get into arguments with people that I know are on 12 medications. You just don't, it's not going to work. They're not thinking. I would rather be ashes than dust. This is a Jack London quote. I read this years ago, and this was on my wall for forever. I love this thing. I would rather be ashes than dust. I would rather that my spark should burn out in a brilliant blaze than it should be stifled by dry rot. I would rather be a superb meteor, every atom of me in magnificent glow, than a sleepy and permanent planet. The function of man is to live, not to exist. Amen. I shall not waste my days trying to prolong them. I shall use my time. I used this quote right here to learn how to travel the world, how to play instruments, how to speak languages, and how to start businesses. I love this quote. I shall not waste my days trying to prolong them. Well, another way that you could say that is, I shall not be afraid to die. It's another way you could say that. It's another way you could say that. Here's, something based off of this. I love life. I love liberty, happiness, truth, courage, transparency. I will defend and preach this until going down in that brilliant blaze. And I am confident that I know my mission, who called me, and the greater purpose of my existence. If you don't know those three things, guess what? You won't live this. You won't. This truth resonates with many, but it repulses others, just as every message ever taught has done since time immemorial. And I will not apologize for preaching the Bible. I'm not going to apologize for following Jesus. I'm not going to apologize for calling out sadistic, Satan-possessed, demon-worshiping, Luciferian buttheads who think that they can push you around. I will call it out, and I did not Jeffrey Epstein myself, I can assure you. God, I didn't even get a laugh out of that. Make sure they laugh. That was funny. Be bold, mighty forces will come to your aid. That's just something, I think that was Winston Churchill, I believe. If you're fearful, you see difficulties in every opportunity. If you're fearless, you see opportunities in every difficulty. That's a good one. If you're fearful, you see difficulties everywhere. Well, what about this? What about that? Oh my God, somebody might die. Oh, we can't have grandma around somebody that might have the Rona. But if you're fearless, you see opportunities in every difficulty. When all this crap started closing down in March of last year, I said, perfect, time to grow. We are positioned in the perfect spot to be able to absolutely preach the truth to people about healthcare, about freedom, about medical tyranny. Because guess what? There is one profession and one profession only in this world that will stand against vaccination. What profession is that? Chiropractic. They've been doing it for almost 130 years, and everybody thought we were nuts. Welcome to 2020. But the cowardly, the unbelieving, the vile, the murderers, the sexually immoral, those who practice magic arts. Once again, Divine Design Natural Health, episode number 108, Pharmakia, if you want to know what that is. That's where we get the word pharmacy, folks. Sorry to let you know, but it's all based on evolution and Babylonian witchcraft. The idolaters and all liars, they'll be consigned to the fiery lake of burning sulfur. This is the second death. Look, I'm not trying to make fun of people. They chose their profession. They chose what they're doing. If they choose not to wake up once they see it, that's on them. But your response is not my responsibility, neither is theirs. However, look what's first. What word is first? I always point this out to people because it strikes me so hard. Just hits me right in the face. Who are the first people in line at the lake of fire?
The cowards.
Why?
Because they're free.
And?
It's opposite of faith.
It's the opposite of faith. You can't do this unless you're afraid. You can't be that unless you're afraid. You can't do that unless you're afraid of somebody else taking your stuff. You can't do this unless you're afraid of not ever getting something else again. You can't do that if you're not trying to manipulate something out of fear. That took me forever to figure that out. Why are they standing in line first? Why are the cowards? Why did God say that? Let that sink in. So unlike many keyboard warriors, oh, you trying to cut me off there, Jonathan? Go back. And we won't hit on the censorship and all this nonsense, but unlike many keyboard warriors and fact checkers and cowardly skeptics, I can actually read the science that substantiates all of these claims, rather than simply posting a journal article or a mainstream media headline that states what I want it to say. I can also easily determine who paid for the study. There's a key to that. It's very simple. There's a secret to that. Once you figure out who paid for the study, you'll read the study in a very different way. Once you figure out who paid for it. Okay, so 5G Pentagram. Well, here, let's start. Let's do a little commercial break, and then we'll break into, actually, that was the introduction.
All right. I will follow that introduction with a perfect testimonial for tonight's class. Says, I told Dr. Spradlin I had been sleeping terribly, waking up every 20 to 30 minutes all night for multiple nights in a row. He asked if I slept with my phone on my nightstand, which I do. He told me to turn off my Wi-Fi and Bluetooth before I went to sleep. I tried it and had the best night's sleep I've had in a long time. So,
Amen.
it's actually a personal testimonial. And I can confirm that I did, in fact, try leaving it on the next night, slept like garbage again, turned it back off the next night, slept perfectly again. So now I never sleep with my Wi-Fi on.
Wow.
Amen.
Right on. There you go.
If your Wi-Fi isn't on.
Hold questions for later. Let's move on. I'm not getting sucked into questions right now. Next time you doubt yourself and wonder if you're the crazy one, just remember this photo of a woman alone in the sky with a mask on. And you know what? We did that. You go to Gatlinburg, you go up the sky lift, you'll see that. And I go up the sky lift, let's go, Brandon, and the whole hill just, it's hilarious. We got a chorus of Let's Go, Brandon just echoing through Gatlinburg. It was wonderful. Okay, now I'll read this. Does anyone find it odd that 1.5 million cell towers went up while we were in lockdown? That number is massively smaller now. You can come on in, darling. Come on in. We got room over here somewhere. Pull up one of these horribly uncomfortable benches. Yes, right here. Does anyone also find it odd that I won't even say the word in this office, that the CV19 symptoms are identical to radiation poisoning? We're going to show you that later on. Can't breathe, can't think, your teeth are vibrating. Guess what? Radiation poisoning and bye-bye smell and taste. Where'd that come from? Does anyone find it odd that the creator of the PCR test, Robert Malone, stated that the test should not be used as a diagnostic tool? Yep. Did anyone know that? Did y'all know that? Yep. Does anyone find it odd that they were arresting people during the pandemic for filming empty hospitals? Anyone know that? The mystery speaker panel discussion thing I just mentioned to you, that's why I mentioned it. We had 4 healthcare professionals, and of which we have a buttload of healthcare professionals in this office who are patients. 3 out of those 4 were nurses who would tell you the hospitals, there was no scamdemic going on in the hospital. The hospitals weren't packed to overflowing. Every one of them would tell you that. Now they're packed though. Why? Blood clots. Does anyone find it odd that a journalist put up $1 million to prove CV19 exists and no one has won the challenge because they can't isolate or purify the virus? Because it's not there. It's in computer code. It's in silica is what it's called. It's not in vitro like in life. It's in silica. It exists as a piece of computer code. I'm just asking for a friend. Next. That's what they're doing. I went to breakfast the other day and I watched a whole group of people sitting there. They're taking pictures of their food and they're taking pictures of the selfies, eating the food. They weren't talking to each other the whole time. I was stunned. So as you're being eaten, you'll take a selfie. Unbelievable. Could have been worse. Unvaccinated firemen could have shown up. That's the stupidity. Oh yeah, the Eye of Sauron. Looks a little suspicious to me. Oh, all right, I'll just go ahead and say it. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm a conspiracy theorist. You know why? I read the Bible. Conspiracy has been happening since Genesis.
Yeah, some too.
All over the place, right? Let me think. Was there a conspiracy in the book of Daniel? Was there a conspiracy with Abraham? Was there a conspiracy with Isaac? Was there a conspiracy with Jacob? Yep. Was there a conspiracy with Joseph in Egypt? Yep. I mean, dozens of them, right? Between the butcher and the baker and the candlestick maker and Potiphar's wife. I mean, list them all out, right? Was there a conspiracy in the Garden of Eden? Yes. Was there a conspiracy in the Garden of Gethsemane? If you do not believe that there are bad people out there trying to do bad things, get out of this office now. I have stood here with Christians telling me that they've told me, I don't believe anything you're saying. Okay, well, what is it exactly that you have a problem with? Well, I don't believe that there are bad people out there. I'm dead serious. Do you read the Bible? Oh, yeah. What Bible do you read? It's not the one I'm reading, brother. If you do not believe that the spirit of the Antichrist that is now at work, that quote was written 2,000 years ago. Jesus in the red letters said it. In 2,000 years ago, and the spirit of the Antichrist just went away? What's wrong with you? Get out of my office. 3 rules. You got to be logical over emotional. I'm telling you, some of the stuff will make you emotional, but you have to be logical. The human brain, the neurology behind it, does not work both ways. You will never have a logical conversation with someone who's hyper-emotional. Then, the science. It's got to be physiology over just what you think should happen. Okay? I don't care if you think that you are a female. If your driver's license, your birth certificate, and something hanging between your legs says you're a dude, you're a dude. And if I catch you hanging in the female restroom, you will no longer be a dude.
Bravo.
I'm just saying what y'all want to say. And then the third rule, and this should be the number one rule, really. The Bible, it's my compass in a sea of lies. In a sea of lies, I have one thing that guides me. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. Well, no, I'm not sorry. If you don't like it, get out. Because that's it. If you think that there is nothing in this world leading people towards idiocy and lunacy and demonism and complete rejection of anything biblical, Christian, and Judeo-Christian, then you're out of your mind. You are completely out of your mind. You're deluded. So those are the three rules. If you don't believe something's coordinated, you're never going to see how it's coordinated. And if you don't believe there's a conspiracy, you don't read the Bible. And if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. That wasn't in here. Where'd that come from? Let's go, Brandon. Okay, I just thought that fit. I don't know why. So there are three kinds of people. Those who make things happen, those who let things happen, and those who wonder what happened.
That's right.
The first type is a master of change. Things happen, you adapt. You change things. You get better. You get smarter. You get bigger. The last two are its victims. You just let something happen, or you wonder, how did that happen? I want everybody in this room to be one of these. That's why we had that little pre-talk before, the little pre-game talk before the camera rolled. I want you to make things happen. I want you to get out there and tell people, wake people up. Is it going to be uncomfortable? Yep. Are they going to think you're crazy? Yep. Do they already think you're crazy? Yep. Do you care?
No.
You shouldn't.
No.
You shouldn't. Did the churches shut down?
Yeah.
Did we drop the ball in the end zone at the greatest time in history? So get over it. Your pastors dropped the ball. A lot of our pastors dropped the ball. So why am I preaching this stuff? Because nobody else is, right? I've moved up on the ladder there saying, okay, we got to make stuff happen. In regard to teaching challenging subject matter, you need to learn this too. Once you learn something, you have only three possible choices. That is it. You doubt it. You deny it. You let the world go to hell in a handbasket. That's option number one. Option number two. I know this is a long intro. Learn it, but do nothing you learn it, but you do nothing out of terror. You reluctantly and silently accept the agenda, and you call everybody else conspiracy theorists, you know? Take action, shout from the rooftops, educate and spread the word to help others. That's what I want you to do. We are doing our part. Help us continue. Support us. Tell people about us. We got kicked off YouTube. We got kicked off Vimeo. Why? Because we're telling the truth. You know what? Just that first 5 minutes of me telling you guys, that would have been censored 6 months ago, 8 months ago, 10 months ago, off multiple platforms. So let's get right into this. What are EMFs? EMFs are electromagnetic fields. They're the number one silent threat in our environment. Now remember, from the cancer thing that we did 2 weeks ago, according to the American Cancer Society, who gets all its money from who? Big Pharma and crappy food companies. According to the American Cancer Society, cancer.gov, cancer comes from what? Two things. Does cancer come from?
Food.
Chemicals and what? Chemicals and radiation. Then in the United States, how do you fix cancer? How are you legally allowed to fix cancer?
Chemicals and radiation.
Chemicals and radiation. I'll say it again. Cancer is caused by what?
Chemicals and radiation.
Okay. But in the United States, you're only allowed to fix cancer with what?
Chemicals and radiation.
Oh, is there a conspiracy there? Yes. You pay for it all. Exactly. So it's the number one silent threat in our environment. What? By them saying chemicals and radiation, what are they leaving out? Any environmental stressors. They're never telling you anything about the environment. They're telling you it's genetics. Well, everything else in medicine is, what are the two ways that medicine says everything starts? Say it louder.
Germs and genes.
Germs and genes. Somebody's been paying attention. So germs, in other words, we have an antibiotic or a vaccine for that one, or genetics, right? And you all know what I'm talking about. Every person in this room. Have you been worried about having thyroid problems because mom had thyroid problems? You've been worried about type 2 diabetes because grandma had type 2 diabetes. You've been worried about cancer because dad had skin cancer. Everybody. They've told you it's genetic or it's germs. That's it. What other option has medicine given you? Can you think of any other way that medicine says a disease starts? Can you think? Nobody in this room, 30, 40 people in this room, you can't think of another way that medicine, mainstream, modern, Western medicine says a disease starts. No, you can't. Huh?
Mental?
No, they don't even admit that.
I'll try it.
No, it's no, that's it. That's really it. Genetics and germs. That's all. It's crazy, isn't it? They don't acknowledge nutrition, just like they don't acknowledge the environment. They don't acknowledge chemical things starting most of the diseases. They'll admit it with cancer. Interesting. Just remember, this is the biggest thing that they will leave out. Environmental stressors. In other words, heavy metals, chemicals, food, anything you put on or in your body is an environmental thing, right? But they don't tell you that. It's germs and genes only. Germs and genes. Now, in 2021, here we have an experimental bioweapon gene therapy injection, not even a vaccine, injection, because they changed the definition of vaccine, right? So we have an experimental injection to fix a germ that modifies your genes. Yep. That proves it right there. The major solution for medicine is an injection to kill a germ that will modify your genes. Put that together. Tell me whose job description that was. Did God give us the vaccine? No. To change your DNA because he screwed up the first time? EMFs are fields of energy that are present everywhere. Okay, so there are electromagnetic fields that are good, that are of the earth, and then there are electromagnetic fields that are bad, that are man-made. Those are the high frequency ones. So no matter how healthy you currently are, any of these frequencies, they're capable of, you can damage your cells, your tissues, your organs, all that. You won't even know it's happening. You are sitting in this room right now, and you have EMFs cutting through you don't even know. Wireless speaker right there. You've got phones in everybody's pockets. In this room, we have 40 to 50 different wireless signals in this room right now. EMFs are the combination of electric fields and magnetic fields. Electric fields are naturally produced by electrical charges in the atmosphere, while magnetic fields come from the earth, like the pulse electromagnetic field therapy stuff we use here. We're trying to mimic the earth's frequencies. So these naturally occurring fields create EMFs that are necessary for life on Earth. How do birds know where to fly and when to fly south for the winter? How do insects know where to return and where to go? How do salmon, who've traveled around in the oceans, know which stream to swim up to get 1,000 feet, 1,000 miles up into a crag in an alley up in Alaska in salmon season? Do animals know how to do things that we don't know? They are tuned in to the electromagnetic fields of the earth, and they all work in unison. How do some of these cubs and whales and, big cats go back to where they, migrating herds of water buffalo, and they all go to the same place? How does that happen? EMFs, electromagnetic fields coming from the earth. So beyond naturally occurring EMFs are more recent man-made sources. For example, electronic devices, cell phones, computers, microwaves, smart appliances emit electromagnetic fields. We'll do a little list here in a minute. When you step outside, power lines, 5G towers, other sources of electricity are silently emitting electromagnetic frequencies into your bioelectromagnetic field, biofield for short, okay? And I was going to have Amanda or somebody or Lauren come up and just do a list of all the stuff just so you'd see, but we don't have time for it. I just want to read out. Everybody throw up your hand. Think of something in your house. I'm going to go around. Think of something in your house that runs off Bluetooth or is wireless or that has an electric signal. Router, boom.
Printer.
Keep going. Printer, keep going. Fax machine, keep going.
Alexa.
Huh? Alexa.
I don't know the next thing.
Fire stick, keep going. Flat screens, your smart TVs that are watching you while you're watching it. Keep going.
If you have a refrigerator.
A refrigerator, appliances, your refrigerators and your washers and your dryers talk to each other now. Your blenders, your air fryers are all Bluetooth. Have you seen this? Why do you need a Bluetooth blender? What? Somebody please explain. I don't know. Somebody think that out. I want to know. If you got a Bluetooth air fryer, I want to know why you want to run your air fryer.
Smart meter on your house.
Your smart meters on your house. Somebody at the end, tell me why a Bluetooth air fryer is a good idea. Somebody please, I want to know. But what did you say, Craig?
A Bluetooth coffee cup.
Yeah, I've seen those. Bluetooth coffee cups to keep your coffee warm. Keep going.
Light bulbs.
Bluetooth light bulbs?
Yeah. You can control from your phone. Yeah.
Oh yeah. See what I mean? We could go on and on and on. Your smart meters, your anything Bluetooth, anything. God, I didn't even think about it. You got you're sitting with your garage door. Absolutely. So you're sitting with your computer. You've got a Bluetooth router sitting next to you. You've got a Bluetooth mouse, a Bluetooth keyboard with a Bluetooth monitor tied into a Bluetooth computer, and you're cooking yourself. See how quick?
Air conditions through the phone.
Yeah. Oh, security monitors, baby monitors, all this stuff. Think about it. So all of this stuff. And how many of you want to pay for your own surveillance with your Apple Watch tied around your pulse points on your wrist, right? Think about this. You are paying for your own surveillance of not just your whereabouts and your geolocation, but you're also all of your biometric data, including your heart rate. You know, they could tell you something, and they could then determine whether you're lying by your heart rate and your blood pressure, just based on what's wrapped around your wrist. No, officer, I don't know where those Jews are hidden. I don't mean that to be funny. I mean that to be like, yo, I don't know where the Jews are hidden. Because some people would throw you on a boxcar tomorrow. But if your heart rate and your blood pressure go up, what do they know immediately? You just lied. That's what a lie detector, that's what a polygraph is. Your iPads, your tablets, your Fitbits, your iWatch, your smart TVs, I don't know why you need to monitor how many steps you have. Just go out and run around your house. Just, why do you need to monitor your steps? Your Siri, your Alexa, how many of you have seen the Alexa things where they ask, who is Jesus, who's Buddha, who's Brahma, who's Shiva? Check out Siri's answer to that. Who's Jesus? A fictional character from 2,000 years ago. And then you ask, who's Muhammad? Oh, the great prophet. And, hey, Alexa, are zombies coming? Have you seen these? Go home. Go home and just search for videos. Well, never mind. You can't do that on Google anymore. Just ask your friends. Somebody's got an Alexa, go over and start asking Alexa some questions. Go ask Siri a few questions. You got wireless speaker systems, medical devices. I'll tell you a little story. Yeah, but I want somebody to figure out the Bluetooth air fryer or blender thing, because I really want to know what is so... If you got that for me, let me know later on. But I'll just tell you a story. My dad got a Bluetooth pacemaker a while back. I didn't know it was going to be a Bluetooth pacemaker. They didn't tell him it was going to be a Bluetooth pacemaker. But he got that along with hearing aids that pick up the TV, because it's so important for people to understand what's going on TV now. It was a miracle ear thing. I think it was like, they were not cheap. And they're rechargeable hearing aids, so you could pick up the audio when the TV is off. So you can be like upstairs or outside, and you got a Bluetooth hearing aid that is good up to 66 feet away from the TV. Anybody catch up? 66 feet?
What more 6?
Why would 66 feet? Why not 65 feet? Why not 70 feet? Why not 60 feet? Why 66 feet? Well, here's why. Check this out. Now, many of you probably didn't know this. On the back of your iPhone, there's that logo, right? It represents the forbidden fruit from the tree God told them not to eat from, and it mocks the fall of humanity. Nowhere in the Bible does it say it was an apple. It says it was a fruit. However, there's a missing bite. What does that symbolize to anyone who has read the Bible? Well, these cats, they read the Bible too. They think they're fulfilling Bible prophecy by doing what they're doing to you. Next, let's check this out. This was one of the first, it sold for $666.66, right? Bite into an apple, B-Y-T-E. See what they did there?
Yeah, B-Y-T-E.
Bite into an apple. Neat, huh? Next. And then here's one of the first ads, the actual Apple ad from 1980. We're looking for the most original use of an apple since Adam. There's Adam. There's a snake. Interesting. I'm sure there's all kinds of little occult things in here that we just don't know about, but just FYI, it's a deep rabbit hole. But anyway, transhumanism is coming. Why do you think they want to replace your hips and your knees? Why do you think they want to put Bluetooth pacemakers and hearing aids into you? Why do you think they want to do everything from earplugs to nanobots in your blood?
Control.
Right, control. So it's a deep thing, but you know what? They're trying to make everybody autistic because that's the new normal, right? Anyway, we won't get into that right now. Autistic people are more highly evolved than you. That's the lie they're going to sell it on, right? But anyway, here's a history of the wireless stuff. 1G was back in the 80s, very simple. It was wireless voice calls. Remember the brick phones? Like, Miami Vice, everybody thought that was crazy. 2G, 1990s, texting. See how it goes up? 3G, wireless internet. Remember that? I got a 3G phone 4 years ago or something. I don't know. Wireless internet on my phone's brand new to me. Just kidding. 4G. Up until 2018, we increased video and streaming. That was a massive, massive increase. And then now 5G, we've got today. Faster data, ultra high definition resolution. Deployment is planned to be in front of every 2 to 10 homes in residential neighborhoods. Residential neighborhoods. You think it's bad on the highways right now? Just looking up and seeing that satanic crown bursting out of the ground, you're going to see it all over the place. Verizon and AT&T started 5G in 2017 with commercial deployment in 2020. Remember? Commercial deployment, 2020. When did we start seeing this stuff? Right? And U.S. became the first nation to allocate airwaves to 5G. Now, I want to draw your attention. Wuhan, China was the first place in the world to roll out 5G for the entire city. The Princess Cruise Line ships that were where everybody who got the Rona were, those were the first cruise ships that were completely 5G. So you see places around the country that rolled out 5G first, like New York. Places around the world that rolled out 5G first, like Italy. What am I naming right here? The hot spots where what? A viral thing happened that mimics the exact symptoms, as you will see soon, of radiation poisoning, right? Now, in World War I, we rolled out, radio waves. World War II, and we had the Spanish flu, 1918. World War II, we rolled out like radar and sonar blanketing the whole earth, came up with all kinds of new diseases. 1968, we had the Hong Kong flu. Within 6 months of when we launched thousands of satellites into the Van Allen belt, and some of you might have heard of Operation Fishbowl. Anyone in here know of Operation Fishbowl? One person. Okay. Might want to look that one up. It's where they tried to blow a hole through the firmament. Yeah, we won't go there right now. That's too much for you. This is a big enough rabbit hole, trust me. But 2020, 5G now appearing. Yeah, Operation Fishbowl. But don't Google it. You won't find the truth about it. They don't want you to know. They blew up a lot of missiles trying to blow up the firmament. So 5G now appearing in 2020. And now we've got virus exudates that are being expelled from malfunctioning cells. So my point is this: World War I, we rolled out radio waves. World War II, we rolled out satellites and radio communications, sonar, radar, all this stuff. With every succession of rolling out new technology, like what we had 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, you see disease rates go up scientifically. We'll talk more about that later. But I want you to see just 1G through 5G. 6G is on the way too, right? Coming. So I've counted 27 towers between here and Chattanooga, just those that are visible on Highway 75. And that was probably about a year ago. That was the last time I taught this class, a year and a half ago. Okay, so 4G, long-term evolution, don't you love what that stands for, can locate your phone down to 50 feet. 5G can locate your phone down to 3 feet. And the UN Agenda 2030 wants smart grids and smart cities. How many of you know what UN Agenda 2030 is? Yeah. You've heard of it. You need to know about it. Don't spend a lot of time looking into it. It'll just depress you and piss you off. But 4G and 5G, 50 feet to 3 feet. Now, how perfect. Hollywood sci-fi surveillance will be sent in real time to those who wish to control you. Your car will sense your emotional state and maybe not let you start it. Cleveland Utilities, or if some of you live in Florida, right, Angie? Or Florida Power and Light can turn your services down or off at peak times, or just because you look funny, haven't paid your bill, or supported certain political candidates. That's your smart meter, right? The industry makes you pay for your own surveillance equipment, Apple Watches and Fitbits, while artificial intelligence establishes your personal psychological profile and can tell when you're pissed, or when you're happy, or when you're upset about something. Every video conference and Zoom call can now be recorded and monitored. That was rolled out last year, and everybody just bowed down to it. It's all 5G. Why are they telling you have to have the 5G towers? Well, they're telling you it's for faster download speeds. You'll see why here in a minute. So, and do you now know, go back to that last slide real quick before we play this. This right here, do you understand now why there was a 6-foot thing? Social distancing? And how many people were allowed at certain gatherings? 10, right? So a 6-foot social distancing thing, so that the AI can tell how many people are there. And AI, all the facial recognition stuff, they can tell from space. Well, not space, but they can tell from up in the atmosphere. They can tell how many people are around. So now we understand why the restrictions were there, coupled with the limitations on the gathering. So they will, and the other thing too about this, with this right here, say that you go to a lawyer's, say this is a chiropractic office, right? So say that they set up a geofence around your building, some marketing company or something like that. And they see the phones come into a chiropractic office, and they can then start marketing to you massage places or health food stores, because they know people who go to chiropractors are the healthiest people in the world. So they start marketing to you. They can draw a location around it's called geofencing, and they can now track phones and figure out what phones came into what place, and they can target advertisements to you based upon where you go. Interesting, huh? So what could possibly go wrong with that? Check this out. Here's the video. Now let's play the video so you can kind of get an idea of where we're heading.
Connecting our lives through 5G. Will be the next marker in history, with AT&T being the first to introduce standards-based mobile 5G. The future path to healthcare will be more efficient with data transport, near real-time monitoring and diagnosis. It will impact the way we experience large-scale events, enabling more immersive capabilities in the future. Educating and enriching real-world experiences through augmented and mixed reality. Entertaining on a whole new level, engaging the user through interactivity and 3D objects. "5G will be part of AT&T's larger story, having America's best network as the foundation. Perseverance is key, but we are convinced that this is the path to true innovation." Connecting our
Up in the air with the little heart monitor right here. You see all this? You see the drones in the air flying over the over the buildings. You see the guy rushing into the fireman running into the burning building, and he's got a monitor on his thing. I mean, this is just nuts. So don't pay attention to people dancing with the pitchforks. Don't pay attention to the baby with a microchip. Nothing to see here. Move along. Keep going. Pulsing towers. No big deal. Commercial break. Ready, darling? Come on up. Then we'll get into the dangerous stuff.
All right, so this new patient says, "I rolled my left ankle while I was installing blinds. I was unable to walk without pain and could barely even limp. Dr. Spradlin put me on the PEMF bed for 30 minutes, along with using a handheld cold laser treatment on my ankle. After my treatment at Divine Design, I felt no more pain and I could walk properly. I limped in, but I walked out. My ankle has been pain-free for 2 weeks and counting. Wow."
Right on. See, everything we do here is energy medicine. When they do an MRI or a CAT scan, what are they measuring in your body? If they're measuring your energy. When they do a blood lab, what are they measuring? Energy in your blood. When they do an EEG of your brain, what are they measuring?
Energy in your brain.
Energy in your brain. When they do an EKG, what are they measuring? Energy of your... They're measuring energy. Everything we do here is energy medicine, only it's up here energy medicine. We're not looking at the symptoms. We're looking at cold laser and we're looking at pulse electromagnetic field therapy to stimulate your DNA with light, the way God said to do it, and then PEMF to stimulate it with the Earth's magnetic fields. Not any man-made stuff. Make sense? It's energy medicine, everything we're doing here. Nutrition. Is nutrition energy medicine? Biochemical, electromagnetic, instant to your taste buds affecting your body. Nutrition. Is nutrition more powerful than any drug? That's why they'll stop at nothing to keep you from understanding it. Let's check this out. Want me to trust the vaccine? Let's revoke the vaccine makers' liability waivers and see how many are still offering the vaccine 1 year from now. And people think, oh, that's just a conspiracy. No, read their stuff. They can't be sued. You die, see you guys. They die, you have no recourse. How's that sound? Sounds like a good deal, right? It's still worth the free donut? No. When you finally get your vaccine and start emitting your own Wi-Fi signals.
Oh my God. That one is from the top.
That's where we're going. That's my point. You think it's crazy. You think it's a cartoon. It's coming. This is what they're doing. Interconnecting you to the IoT, the Internet of Things. This is all Ray Kurzweil science fiction, Carl Sagan crap. And it's coming true. Here we go. Doctor, I feel perfectly healthy. Stay home. Avoid sunlight. Cover your respiratory passages. Take an experimental injection. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly happen? DuckDuckGo, because Google's so 1984. One thing I will tell you, though, go to Google. I will tell you, go to Google and type in the words, died suddenly. And when you're done looking at the results, 12 hours later, tens of thousands of people, I want to know how you feel about how all of that could be happening so quickly. Next. You are the carbon they want to reduce. When you hear the greenwashing crap of climate change and global warming and the nonsense about CO2 emissions, you know what CO2 is? It's what plants have to have. It's what you give off and plants take in and they give back oxygen. So when you buy in to the BS of reducing carbon emissions, while these they're taxing your gas while these cats are flying private jets from country to country, you are the carbon. You're a carbon-based life form.
Yep.
You are the carbon they want to reduce, as in depopulation. And if you are not getting that, you ain't going to last very long here. And I don't just mean in this office, I mean the world. Like, you don't get it. Next. You don't get it. Dangers of 5G. Here, let's rock. Let's get to the exciting, the fun, the uplifting stuff. You guys ready? All the dangerous stuff. 5th generation is a wireless network that allows for faster data rates at a shorter distance. What does that mean? You can download that worthless piece of crap season of garbage television in seconds rather than minutes. You can waste more of your precious life force on man-made fiction by downloading crap off the internet. I love it. Your internet and mobile devices will work at a much faster speed. How many people right now think your internet speed sucks? My point is that nobody asked for this. We don't need faster internet, do we? You know who needs faster internet? People who are tracking every molecule and bowel movement in your body and in driverless cars going place to place to place. We need a grid to be able to track all that. It's not about download speed, folks. That commercial sold you on the download speed and all this stuff, all the great things about, you know, giving up your sovereignty and your location and everything else. People have given up their pulse to have an Apple iWatch so that they can return a text message. It's unbelievable. But right here, your mobile devices, this is what they're selling you on. Your mobile devices will work much faster. How many of you need a faster cell phone? No one in this room needs a faster cell phone, right? No one asked for it. We don't need it. What happened to fiber optics? Anybody? Yeah, that's what I thought. Nobody knows. Driverless cars, real-time surveillance, whatever. 5G is a much higher frequency EMF than the generations of networks that came before it. It's a much higher frequency, which means it's a shorter wavelength. That means it travels a lot faster. I won't get into all the physics and the stuff about it. It just confuses people. But due to higher frequency, it can't reach as wide of an area because those high frequency, short wavelength waves can't reach a big area. They have to be very, very, very directional. So more 5G towers then are needed for everyone to get their ultra-fast, non-existent processing speed that I thought we fixed with fiber optics decades ago, but now we're just putting up towers everywhere because we need somehow, some way to monitor every person in this world along with all of their monetary transactions and every decision that they make. You have to have massive processing power. That's what these are for. Everybody get that?
Yep.
Say, I finally understand what 5G means.
I finally understand what that means.
There you go. There's the take-home message right there. Okay. Rollout of 5G means higher frequency. EMFs at a much more concentrated dose bombarding the world. Remember what we did? World War I, radio waves. World War II, sonar and radar, right? World War III, when was the radio invented? Late 1800s, early 1900s, right? So we never had these high-frequency man-made EMFs until the late 1800s, early 1900s. That's when we figured out X-rays and all this other stuff, right? So we never had any of this stuff until the last 130 years. But now we've got a higher frequency EMF at a much more concentrated dose bombarding the entire world, right? See the dangers of this? The World Hoax Organization has classified radio frequencies which are emitted from 5G as group 2B possible human carcinogens. Possible. I'm just giving you the highlights. I'm just giving you the basic bottom line highlights. So there are two primary categories of EMFs. There's non-ionizing, like you got low frequency stuff like home appliances and cell phones. If you're just standing next to your washer or dryer and it's not got a Bluetooth on it, that would be what's called like a low frequency, a low non-ionizing radiation, because it's got a magnetic and an electrical force to it. So it's a very low frequency of EMFs. It's non-ionizing. But ionizing EMFs are higher frequencies of nuclear reactions or X-rays, like when you go get your teeth X-rayed, or you go get a CAT scan, you know? This is all ionizing radiation, meaning it's shooting ions at you, which means it can knock electrons out of atoms, which means it creates an ion. So ionizing radiation is much more dangerous than non-ionizing radiation. Anything that's man-made, electrical, magnetic, it has EMFs. But if it's non-ionizing, it's not as bad as ionizing, because ionizing means it's splitting electrons out of your atoms, causing what you would probably hear referred to as oxidative damage or free radicals. Just think of it that way. Oxidative damage or free radicals. Your body is doing metabolism, it's sawing wood. The free radicals, the oxidative damage, would be the sawdust. Somebody's got to clean it up, right? So ionizing radiation is strong enough to displace electrons from atoms, making it a very serious threat to your cellular health. However, many people overlook the potential harm that can come from the non-ionizing radiation, because now all the non-ionizing stuff has 5G on it. So why you need to protect yourself? Let's just get right down to the big sell right here. Modern society is creating more man-made EMFs than ever before. New technology is creating more frequencies and exposures than were ever intended to interact with human physiology. Our ancestors were exposed to natural sources of EMF. When I first brought the pulse units into this office, I said, you know, the biggest thing that ever really spoke to me about the pulse units, and by that, the pulse electromagnetic field therapy, what I mean by that, I used to study when I was growing up and reading and learning and, you know, grade school, high school, college. I was fascinated with war, particularly the Vietnam War, and I was also fascinated with Native American heritage and folklore. And so I was just fascinated with everything Native American. Part of that is because I have some in my blood, not enough, of course, to get free college, but, you know, it's fascinating nonetheless. But so I had always read stories and folklore and Native American traditions and things like that. So many of them talk about the Great Spirit and the Creator and everything, and it just kind of drew me closer and closer to the Lord, because I knew that there were some tribes that were monotheists and there were some tribes that were just complete and total polytheists, and it always fascinated me which ones succeeded, which ones were very happy, well taken care of tribes. Certain tribes that had very similar marriage and burial rites as the Jewish people, as the ancient Israeli Hebrew people. And so I would see patterns in some of these tribes. And so I would always read stories and Native American folklore and myth and tradition and stuff like that. And I came across this one quote one time, that famous speeches by Native Americans. And one of them said, this alone stuck out in my mind. Shoes, I'll just say it right now, shoes will kill the white man. And I, for years, could not figure out what that meant, but it always stuck in my craw like a feather in my Yankee Doodle hat. And I could not figure out what that meant until I started understanding the foot spas and how they work, and until I started figuring out pulse electromagnetic field therapy, until I started really realizing that we are disconnected from the earth, and therefore all of these EMFs building up in your body, they gotta go somewhere. Where do they go? The cellular, the last slide said something about cellular health. They're detrimental to your cellular health. So the shoes will kill the white man. Why? Because we're walking around on sidewalks and asphalt and we never touch ground. Any electrician, anybody who runs wire will tell you, like having a ground wire, having a ground plug is very important, right? To dissipate that ionic charge. Why are the footspas called ionic detoxification units? Because we create an ionic field for all of your blood to pass through your feet 7 or 8 times within a 23-minute cycle and pick up an ionic field, pick up an ionic charge by going through that ionic field. This, the same thing. Native Americans knew shoes would kill the white man because they're disconnected from the very earth from which they are sculpted, right? They knew it. They had that much of respect for the Creator that they knew being separated from the earth would kill you eventually, right? Walking around on rubber, on asphalt. Think about the last time you brushed your feet in grass. Think about the last time you stepped on dirt or sand. Think about it. It's crazy. It's fascinating, isn't it? All right, so you must understand that your body is electrical and it's energetic. You must understand tiny currents of electricity are already flowing through your system, creating impulses that animate your nervous system, your heart, your muscles, your glands, your organs. Right here, this one sentence, it culminates all of chiropractic philosophy right there. You, without nerve impulse and nerve flow, you would not be living because there would be no impulses that would animate your nervous system, heart, muscles, glands, or organs. So chiropractic returns that innate flow of electrical energy to your nervous system, which runs everything, right? That's the chiropractic stimulation passes energy into all of these places the way that you can't do it on your own, right? Chiropractic means what? Done by hand. That's what the word means. Chemical energy transmits through your taste buds, sends electrical stimulation to brain and other organs. You have to understand this. Everything you do is chemical energy. It's electrical energy. It's kinetic energy. Everything is energy. Why don't we embrace it? Well, because the New Agers took it over years ago and made it sound all woo, and people don't want to be considered with woo. But energy is, what's dunamis? Power. MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, blood labs, measuring your level of this one thing. Energy. Oh, and by the way, this chemical energy transmits through your taste buds. That's how muscle testing was discovered, by the way, from the bioelectromagnetic impulse of a taste on your tongue influencing the strength of your body's muscles and thereby influencing the strength of your heart. Because your heart is a what? Muscle. So that's how muscle testing, manual muscle testing was discovered, was by the instant bioelectromagnetic chemical energy of taste buds sensing animal and plant tissues instantly. It's fascinating. Fascinating. We need to respect our bodies instead of poisoning them. So energetically, you have physical energy flowing through your body. You have interacting fields of energy around your body. This is called your biofield, just to back you up a little bit. Even at lower frequencies, EMFs can induce currents of energy through the body. These currents can cause stimulation and imbalance in your nerves and muscles and may impact your health on a cellular level. Due to the rapid increase of technology, many are reporting symptoms associated with excess EMF exposure. So you have to understand this right here. And we'll discuss electrohypersensitivity here because this is what you'll be diagnosed with. Yeah, next slide. There it is. Or EHS. You're going to start hearing this. Electrohypersensitivity. Some people are more sensitive to EMFs than others. Duh, right? Maybe they have great genetics, great diet. Maybe they're exercising regularly and they're not affected by EMFs as much. Other people who are on, think about this. Other people who drink chemically and, artificial what's the word I'm looking for? Artificially flavored foods and artificially chemicalized foods. They've got that floating around in their bloodstream. They're on 7 medications. Let's just choose a small number for modern America. They just got a couple of vaccines. They went through the backscatter radiation machine at the airport. They got a couple of amalgams put in their mouth a few months ago by their dentist. They got a head x-ray and a chest x-ray because they had a little sinus problem at the office or at the medical office just recently. And so their symptoms, who's going to experience more electrohypersensitivity symptoms? The first person or the second person I just mentioned? Number 2. So current health status plays a role, as it will with anything, right? They drop the next bioweapon on us, the Marburg virus or whatever they're coming out with next. Who's going to stand to get really, really sick? People who've taken care of themselves for years, who go here, of which all the hundreds of patients we have, there's one that got a vaccine. I'm very proud to say that. I'm a little perturbed that we had one, but given the fact that all other chiropractors I speak with have vaccination rates of over 50% in their offices, I'm pretty happy that we only have one. She's a Medicare patient. She got through. She slipped through my clutches, but she got through. But if you're already immune compromised or dealing with other health concerns, EMFs may be too much to handle, right? If you got a mouthful of amalgams and you are on 3 antidepressant and anti-anxiety medications, you might have a hard time when they roll out the Marburg virus and people actually do start dropping dead. EHS is characterized by a range of symptoms that either begin or increase in the presence of EMF, such as, here goes, you'll know people that had these, or that have these, headaches. You can just bash through all these, Jonathan, all of this stuff. Just describe anyone you might know. So these are the symptoms of known EMF toxicity, or EHS, right? You can go through the whole thing. These are the symptoms of known EMF toxicity. Now take a good gander at that. Think anxiety, depression, mood issues, brain fog, clarity, focus. Many people have different ways of saying the same thing. Fatigue, chronic fatigue that might be diagnosed with. If you want to know what some of these actually are, go back and look at diseases that don't exist. Tell you where they come from, or what they actually are, what some of these things can be. Balance disorders, cognitive decline, let's go Brandon, decrease in heart rate variability, increase in stress hormones. I'm a member of the LGB-FJB community. Oh, is that not on here? I'm sorry, that's not on here. But common points supported by, so those are common symptoms that you're going to hear from people that can be attributed to living with a phone on their head, or earbuds in their ears, or sitting next to a computer, or sleeping next to a router in their crowded dorm room, right? Who knows? There's a million different ways this can happen, but if you're not looking for it, you'll never see it, right? Now, here are common points supported by scientific evidence. I just put together a ton of science stuff into like a small bullet point, a small bullet pointed list. So I just want you all to look at this. Common things that we know that are supported by scientific evidence, such as 5G and EMF influences or can cause infertility, fatigue, thyroid dysfunction. Really? Absolutely. Just ask the bees. Dermatological problems, redness, stinging, burning sensations. We'll talk about why that will be here in just a minute. Dealing with your sweat glands, and your sweat glands housing water. DNA breaks. What would you call that? What would you call breaks in your DNA? Another way to say that would be cancer or tumors. Altered brain development. Are we seeing any of that in the last 5 or 10 years? Sperm dysfunction. Oh, unvaccinated sperm, by the way, are selling like hotcakes. Crazy. Infertility clinics. Yeah, the unvaccinated sperm is bringing quite a high dollar, guys. ADD. If you need to make a few bucks, guess what? I just made you a lot of money, Sonny. Pineal gland disruption. When people get certain shots and they feel like they can't communicate with God anymore, or they feel like God has left the building, the pineal gland is pretty important. We won't get into that right now, but it's very important. It's the highest vibrational organ in your body. Pathogens can be activated by EMFs. What did that just say? We know that this is all supported by scientific evidence. Peer-reviewed, doctorate-level, PhD-level scientists who've been studying this for decades, from 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, now we got 5G. They know, yes, spontaneous abortions, altered brain development, but right here, pathogens can be activated to secrete more endotoxins. So, do we have the technology where we can turn up the dial on rheumatoid arthritis for 37312? Yes. Can we turn up the dial for Rona for a certain zip code in Nashville? Can we dial in on the 7th floor of a 30-story apartment building with EMFs that would influence someone's Lyme disease? Yeah. We have the technology. And don't think it won't be used. That's the bad side. Oh. What is that? More than likely. Huh? More than likely a vaccine accident, as they're being, I don't mean that funnily, I mean a vaccine accident, that's what they're called from people. Or that's a transfer happening from a hospital or nursing home to one or the other, back and forth, one or the other, from an adverse drug reaction. 95% of the time when you hear those sirens of a medical emergency, that's what your tax dollars are paying for. Adverse drug reactions from the pharmaceutical poisons that they put your grandparents on. FYI, I got the stats for the county. Come on. Pathogens can be activated by EMFs to secrete more endotoxins. Perfect. What does that tell you? Next. And it's all supported by scientific evidence. MRIs, EEGs are affected by EMFs. Really? I wonder if the hospitals know this. EMFs cause atrial fib, heart problems. Really? I wonder if Grandma knows that, since we got her that Apple iWatch a couple years ago, and she's always been a little kooky since. Next. Men who keep phones in pockets are much more sterile. Scientific evidence supports this. Women, did you know? I didn't even put this in here. Keep your phone in your pocket or in your bra, and you'll come away sometimes. I'm not saying every time, but with a phone-shaped. They call them phone-shaped tumors. Dementia is increasingly diagnosed in people's 40s now, supported by scientific evidence that EMFs are causing and contributing to this. Makes your blood-brain barrier and your gut barrier permeable so that now you got food, you got heavy metals, you got toxins, you got chemicals leaking through your gut barrier, leaking from your digestive contents into your bloodstream and going from your bloodstream into your brain. What do the self-assembling nanoparticles do? Breach the blood-brain barrier. Next. Compromises the microbiome of the gut. We already knew that. Hardens females' eggs. Why would that be a problem? Yeah, because the only thing that's going to get you pregnant in the future is a needle. And they will sell it to you. Well, it's not cheap to go to an infertility clinic, is it? I don't even know. But the elites will be the ones who are reproducing in the future because of this right here. Suppresses your skin's ability to produce vitamin D. If you can't produce vitamin D, what will you eventually have? Correct. Cancer. Pandemic viral testing is called Oh, I left this in from a long time ago. Viral testing is called real-time polymerase chain reaction. They test for RNA fragments, which can be present from EMF exposure. I actually put this in before. Oh, yeah. Because you can have particles that are present from EMF exposure that will then turn your test positive. Next. Oh, yeah. And if you don't have enough vitamin D, too, you'll have depression, anxiety, all that stuff, right? So who is most vulnerable? This is the beautiful thing. It's the ones we're already killing the most of. The kids and the infants and the unborn fetuses. Number one cause of death in humankind, abortion. Their brains and bodies are more absorbent. We got to hurry up and kill them, so we can sell them on the black market, eat them up. Skulls are thinner than grown adults. Since the time span between exposure and diagnosis of tumors can be decades, many children may not even be aware of the damage until early adulthood, and they will go to what Saints Cancer Research Hospital that we talked about 2 weeks ago in the cancer class. There was a comedian that prayed to a Catholic saint and said, if you grant me this and this, I'll build a shrine to you. St. Jude's. Danny Thomas.
Yeah.
Prayed to a saint, said he'd build a shrine if his prayer was answered. The saint answered the prayer.
Fallen angel.
Yeah, a demon.
Yeah.
And that's where St. Jude's came from. I mean, look it up on Wikipedia. I mean, I don't recommend Wikipedia as a great source, but everybody knows Danny Thomas was involved with that thing, right? I mean, there's some stuff that's just like too easy. It's some stuff you just go, that makes sense. And it's a ritual haven. It's a shrine created to St. Jude Thaddeus by Danny Thomas, right? So look at that. What's going to happen to all these kids and infants and stuff like that? Where are they going to go? Nobody's going to know this. Nobody's going to even speak about this. They'll be censored by the time this rolls out. And any doctor that doesn't go along with the transgender agenda in the near future is going to have his license revoked because they're going to be redoing the medical school textbooks that say men can get pregnant. So central nervous system dysfunction, check this out. You'll love this. Research shows EMFs can have a negative impact on your nervous system. Research shows EMF exposure, even at low levels, increases feelings of depression and anxiety. Changes occur in the cells of your nervous system, negatively affecting cognitive function, learning, and memory. So if your doctor is saying, here, just take this antidepressant pill or just take this ADD. Oh, little Johnny needs his ADD pills. BS. ADD doesn't exist. Diseases that don't exist, I'll prove it to you. Go check out Land of the Free, Home of the Crazed. I'll show you where ADD came from. But right here, what they're going to do is put you on antidepressant meds and psychiatric medications for the rest of your natural-born life, turn up the 5G, inject you with a bunch of crap, boom. It's pretty simple when you think about it. Pretty simple. But changes to the central nervous system, there's enough for me right there. I want to protect myself. By all means, I want to do as much as I can. Okay? What happens to the immune system? Let's check this out. It's a potential carcinogen. The World Hoax Organization, the most trusted name in sports is potential carcinogen. So we have to, a potential carcinogen? What do you mean? What does that mean? Is that like kind of being half pregnant? What does that mean? Research shows that EMFs disturb immune function through inflammatory processes and allergic responses. So allergies come from hypodermic needles, but then if you go to an allergist and get treated, they're going to poke you with what? A hypodermic needle. Interesting. So they're never going to figure out where the allergies are coming from. And it couldn't be the food, the air, the water, the cosmetics, all the chemicals. It can't be. Diseases that don't exist? Go check it out. Allergies. That's how we get rid of allergies on a daily basis. Research in animal models shows an increase in oxidative stress when exposed to EMFs. Remember when I said the ionizing radiation is pounding your atoms and knocking the electrons out and creating an ion? That's what that means, ionizing radiation. Tissue repair processes are disturbed due to EMF interference. What this means? Well, the vaccine does the same thing. The non-homologous end joining units, your DNA's repair mechanism for your body. If your body makes a chunk of DNA and there's a mistake, your body can fix it. What the shots and this can do is turn off the repair processes. They can disturb them so your body can't go back and fix that DNA chunk that was screwed up. So what will you eventually have? Cancer. Correct. DNA breaks, DNA problems, cells that won't shut off, right? All been observed in laboratory stuff, but the industry itself is not telling anyone. So that's why, very important. I forgot to mention this at the very beginning. This was part of the housekeeping. A very famous Italian case years ago where a mom sued telecom business in Italy for the death of her son because he developed a brain tumor from constantly being on the phone. Very famous court case. I've told this story before. So the prosecution, she sues, so she's on one side, the industry's on the other. She sues, and they both grab all of this proof that no, it couldn't be. Over here, the bad guys, they're saying, the telecom guys saying, no, we have all this scientific evidence that says EMFs don't do brain tumors. EMFs don't do, cellular DNA breaks. And she had all these researchers over here gathering all the stuff that said EMFs did cause all this stuff. So the judge is in a little Solomon moment conundrum, and he says, you know what? Throw out all of the studies that were carried out by entities that stood to make money off 5G technology or cellular technology. It wasn't 5G back then. So basically he said, any of those studies that y'all are referring to, and he said y'all because he was speaking Italian, right? Any of those studies that y'all are referring to, any of them that have the financial interests in telecom company that publish the study, they get thrown out. So over here, the bad guys, their stack of literature went from here to here. Over here, her stack of literature went from here to here. So in a landmark case, the judge ruled in favor of mom. Because what that story illustrates, what I want you to get out of that, is there's industry science and then there's independent science. Right. Always remember that. The stuff you're hearing on the news right now, is it independent science or is it industry science? Industry science, which tells you that we're going to change your genetic code and you're going to be better. And we squash all the stuff that says people are dying. Isn't that great? Wonderful. So tissue repair processes are disturbed. So just know that. Because now we have the purebloods, right, of which I am one. And anyone in this room. You guys, did I tell you you can make a bunch of money off your sperm now? Did I mention that? So we have the purebloods versus the DNA repair inhibition. And here's the other thing too, understand this. With the shots, what they're doing now is they're understanding that with UV radiation, increase of blood clots and increase of DNA breaks. So what does that mean? You got the purebloods versus people who go out in the sun and they can't stand it. We got a bunch of vampires. Right? Isn't that nuts? UV radiation will cause them to break down faster and have more blood clots and DNA breaks because now their skin cannot absorb and do anything with the UV radiation. It's nuts. It's nuts. You're never going to hear this anywhere else. I promise you. You're never going to hear it. Okay, so that's your immunity. Just a couple things. Here's fertility. Let's look at what's going on. You think the birth rate will go up and go down or go down? It's already going down. We're screwed. Let's look at this. Fertility issues in both men and women are a great concern with EMFs. Research shows that EMF exposure from a Wi-Fi connected laptop lowers sperm motility and increases sperm DNA fragmentation in men. Researchers found oxidative stress produced from EMFs affect implantation and pregnancy in mice. What do you think it'll do in humans? Crazy, huh? That's your fertility stuff. And, while we're on fertility, we got the LGBTQIA+ agenda going on. We got the soy boys, dancing in the streets. We got no more. You're not going to need abortion anymore because there's whole sectors of society that won't be reproducing because they've been tricked into thinking that they were born that way. And that's why Jesus says, well, hey, you got to be born again, right? You got to be born again. Think you were born that way? You weren't born that way. You're a product of the environment, right? Remember, it didn't come from your genetics. They already discovered that there was no gay gene, right? How would there be a gay gene? It wouldn't propagate. Think about it.
Yeah, right.
Think about it. If your dad was gay, you wouldn't be here. I'll say that again. If your dad was gay, you wouldn't be here. Amen? So it's not genetic. It's a choice, but it's influenced by the environment, just like everything else that they're saying doesn't exist. It's only genes and germs. In the DSM, a long time ago, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual used by psychiatrists, homosexuality used to be considered a mental disorder. Not anymore. Now, I'm not, pumping my hands for the psychiatrists. That's the most evil sector of medicine you'll ever see. My point is this. The fertility issues that are being caused in LGBTQIA+ soy boys, could they be being caused by female aborted fetal tissue and vaccines being injected into a male? Yes or no?
Yep.
Could that cause something bad happening? Could it be from all the soy and the genetically modified foods and fake meats that people are consuming? Could it be from 5G radiation and EMFs and being bathed in a shower of radio waves and EMFs and 5G all day long? Could it be from indoctrination? Could it be from medication? Could it be from glyphosate? Could it be from irradiation? Microwaving your food? Could all those things that we just mentioned at the very beginning be contributing to the destruction of the male and emasculation of males in society? Absolutely. So here's a commercial break. You ready, darling? Come on up. We're almost done.
All right. So this one says, I felt like my throat was swelling and I had a sore throat. So I had Dr. Spradlin give me an adjustment and test me for any kind of allergic reactions. He gave me an acute schedule to follow with some new supplements and adjusted my trachea, and my throat felt completely back to normal after just a couple of hours. Before coming here, I didn't know a trachea could be adjusted.
Well,
You need both.
you learn all kinds of new stuff. That was the first time I'd ever done that. I made it up on the spot. I didn't know that could be adjusted. Me either. You were the first. Yes, I went to school for this. 6 hours on a Saturday afternoon at a Holiday Inn.
Oh,
And I learned a
Holiday
ton.
Express.
I'm just kidding. No, I get that question all the time. You did go to school for this, right? Are you concerned about the increase in artificial intelligence? No, but I'm concerned about the decrease in real intelligence. Isn't that great? I'm a little concerned about both, just to be honest. Name a product that blames its failure on those who didn't use it. And go. That's a good one, right? This is what people, they repeat it. Where did they hear it to repeat it? Television. Next. Look at this. Anthony Fauci saying to the little kid, make it a good spin, Billy, and your choices are death, Bell's palsy, blood clots, thrombosis, sterility, stroke. You can't win on that one, folks. That's a spin you don't want to make, I promise. Imagine lining up a third time for something that didn't work the first or second. And I say this, we laugh at this, and we're not trying to make fun of people. People are so deceived, and they're believing the lie that there's only two ways you can go with this, folks. You either believe God created you and gave us everything we'll ever need to fix every disease, ever, with the plants and the animals and stuff we haven't even been able to discover yet. Either God provided everything he's ever going to do to fix disease, or he screwed up and Anthony Fauci and Bill Gates are going to fix your DNA. What was the original lie in the Garden of Eden? Did God really say, don't you want to be like this? Because God doesn't want you. Shouldn't you take on a different identity, and shouldn't you can be like God. You can live longer, because we know you're afraid of dying.
Hebrews 2:15.
Unbelievable. Next. So the basics, here it is, oxygen. 5G interferes with oxygen absorption. That's why smell and taste went bye-bye. You try to tell somebody, well, why did my smell and taste go? It must be COVID, it must be COVID, it must be COVID. You try to tell them something other than what they've heard on the news, I'll tell you, it interferes with oxygen absorption. Your taste buds, your nerves, your lungs, guess what? Water. If you don't know who this is, Masaru Emoto said there's nothing more damaging to water than EMFs. Years ago, you've read about this guy. You've heard every pastor talk about him, saying to ice cubes, I love you, I love you, I love you. He freezes them. Saying to ice cubes, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, and he freezes them. You everybody heard the story?
Nope.
Wow. Okay, well, yeah. Plants, same thing. Plants are made of water, right? So you speak to the ice cube and you say, I love you, you're beautiful, you're great, you're awesome, you're cuddly, I love you, you're so warm and fuzzy. And then you freeze it. And that love coming, that energy from your voice will make these ice cubes that were spoken with love, prayer, kindness, freeze in a different crystalline structure than these ice cubes over here that you poured hate and vileness into. You should hear of this. Every pastor out there should be talking about this, because guess what? That proves what? The power of the tongue. The power of words. In the beginning, God said, let there be light. Right? There's your audio and your visual, whole entire electromagnetic spectrum in one verse. God. This guy here proved, Masaru Emoto, he showed there's nothing more damaging to water. The same guy who proved that, yeah, you can talk to plants and say, hey, you're great, you're awesome, I love you, you're blessed, and the plant grows well. To this plant over here, you say, I hate you, you're ugly, you're going to die, and the plant dies, right? Same dude. Masaru Emoto said there's nothing more damaging to water than EMFs. Japanese scientist who studied water, right? How much of your body's made of water? 80%. So when somebody talks smack to you, does it affect you? Yes. When you go to an Astro World Travis Scott concert and listen to demons singing, and you got yada butta gangster rap in the background, are you being affected by it? Yes. Well, I don't listen to the lyrics. You don't need to. We breathe oxygen. So that's problem number one. Guess what? Oxygen absorption. Okay, the problem with that. Okay, we breathe oxygen. Problem. We're made of water. Problem. This is a big problem, right? And I do this to educate you, not to get you all freaked out. There's nothing that happens from a place of fear. There's a lot that happens from a place of faith. But here's another little quote I pulled from a PhD guy who's been studying 5G for longer than I've been alive. Active denial systems, or ADSs as they're called, are military weapons designed to use millimeter waves directed at riders to make their skin burn. Our sweat glands are antenna for 5G. This is a weapon located next to our beds. Interesting, isn't it? So if they have a weapon that can mess with water, guess what? They got a weapon that can mess with you. So this technology, man, it's there. We know it's there. Everybody knows it's there. These PhD level guys, they've been sounding the alarm for 10, 20, 30 years, saying this is what's coming. Next. Yeah, what happened in 2020? Look at the oxygen problem. Go back to the last one, please, Jonathan. What was happening in 2020 to interfere with oxygen absorption? What else? What was the original thing that people were wearing masks for? So could they turn on some frequencies and fake an entire scamdemic and then get everybody freaked out so that they'll bow down and take a jab and then another jab and another jab and another jab, as long as they control the media, the frequency, the prints and powers of the air, right? As long as they can control that, they'll keep people coming back, coming back. You get the jab, you're going to take all that free money that the government printed and gave to you in your paycheck, and you're going to return it right to the pharmaceutical company when you go to the doc in the box for the blood clots. Interesting, isn't it? It's just a big circle. They print a bunch of free money, entice you with it, and then they take it when you go get sick. I love it. If it wasn't so demonic and evil, I would admire the perfection of such a plan. If it wasn't so evil. So I just wanted to point that out to you. Interferes with oxygen absorption. 2020 interfered with people's oxygen absorption. And then they put on a mask, right? Next. Medicine says genes and germs, only way you can become ill. We covered that. If a bunch of dolphins died mysteriously, would you think it's genetic? No. What would you do? Well, some people would test them to see if they had a virus, right? Or, this is like one of the best things you'll learn tonight. Or would you look at the environment and perhaps see that oil, possibly leaking from a tanker, had poisoned the water, resulting in a sickness appearing in the dolphins? Let that sink in. Take a picture of that, because seriously, that right there, that slide right there contains more logic than anything you're going to see on any news show for the rest of the year, I promise you. Just if you think, translate it to trees, shrubs, translate it to cucumbers in your garden, however you want to think this. It's the logic, it's the science, it's the simplicity. If you find a bunch of dolphins dead, would you think it's genetic? All at once? It'd be impossible, right? But would you test them all to see if they had a virus? Well, some people would, but would that make sense? How would they all have the same thing? I know you've all been taught World War Z and this virus spreads and everybody has it. That's not the way viruses know, and that's not even a virus. But look at it this way. Or would you look at the environment and see that they were dead for a reason, resulting in a sickness appearing in the dolphins? Wouldn't that be the most logical thing? Right. So this makes the most sense. Now, translate that over to cancer. They're telling you all the cancer is genetic, right? Translate that over to heart disease. How does all the heart disease happen? How do they tell you it happens? Genetics. Transfer that to strokes. How do strokes happen? Say it. How do they tell you? Say it. Is it genetic? Yeah. How about diabetes?
That too.
See how this keeps going? When it's genetic, get this. I didn't put this in a slide for a reason. You ought to write this down. When a doctor says it's genetic, here's what he's doing. He's telling you he doesn't have to fix you because it's genetic. Then he's telling you that you don't have to fix you because it's genetic. There's nothing you can do. In essence, that atheist demon worshiper is telling you, based on his evolutionary atheistic no God education, is telling you that it's all God's fault. That God that I don't believe in. That's what he's telling you. When he says it's genetic, you call him a liar to his face. And right here, it's not genetic. If it was all genetic, cancer, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, all the big four killers of people, you wouldn't be here. If it was genetic, he's a liar. Remember that. Next. Think about it. Has anyone noticed a marked decrease in birds, insects, frogs, squirrels?
Yes.
I have. I noticed a massive decrease in my squirrels in my backyard, and I am very upset about it. Insects, I noticed. I don't know. Did anybody else notice this?
Oh, yeah, I've
yes.
heard about it for years, yeah.
Frogs, squirrels. I used to have frogs. I used to have squirrels. I used to have birds all over the place. Everywhere. Did they have a genetic disease? No. Did they catch a virus? Couldn't have been. Impossible. So was it genetics? Just like the dolphins? No. Was it germs? Just like the dolphins? No. Is there an environmental change that is pushing them away?
Yes.
I chance to say there might be. Right?
They weren't wearing masks.
Yeah. That's probably what the problem is. So just imagine. The environmental thing is the one thing they will leave out of every conversation. So just remember that. So here's how to protect yourself. How to protect yourself from EMFs. There's really only 3 ways. Really, this is it. I'll make it very, very simple. There are all kinds of doohickeys and devices and things. I'll show you kind of some of the stuff I do, some of the stuff I recommend, yada, yada. I'll give you some other advice later on if you want after the camera's shut off. But here's the deal. It's like, how do I make more money? 2 ways. That's it. Spend less or make more. I will boil down all of finances for you and let's go, Brandon. Right now, the only way you can get out of debt or make more money, the only way is to make more or spend less. That's it. Find ways to make more money, to amplify your time, or find ways to cut your expenses. You run a business, you want to save money, here's how you do it. Spend less or make more. That's it. How to protect yourself from EMFs, kind of the same thing. You have to decrease or reduce, get rid of the bad stuff or increase the good stuff. Spend less or make more. I just broke this into 2. I said decrease the EMFs emitted from your devices. There's ways to do that, but then there's also reducing your exposure. Okay? So there's 2 ways to do that one. Lots of ways to do this, but for the sake of simplicity, there it is. How to protect yourself. That's it. So we're going to break it down. We're going to discuss decrease the EMFs emitted from your devices. Here's how you do it.
Yeah, the third. That's right.
Let's do it. Here we go. Decrease the EMFs. EMF protectors can neutralize EMFs with negative ions or absorb the device's frequencies. Can you go, Lauren, can you grab a couple of R2Ls and EMF neutralizers and stuff? I've got mine on me, but I want to show them. So you can do protectors that neutralize EMFs. And like, for instance, you see people walking around all the time. Every time I see it, I just think, oh, Lord, oh, gosh, oh, no. You see people walking around with earbuds or the wraparound things that go right around their entire head, And the earphones can be a bad deal. But there are EMF protecting earphones. If listening to audio with earphones, use a wired connection. That's what I do if I ever do. If you can't do that, some earphones use hollow air tubes to emit safer frequencies and also have built-in EMF protection with copper infused into the cord. So there are options to some of these things. Okay, but the ones you'll see, the frequent stuff you'll see is the earplugs and earbuds. Protection crystals. Several crystals are known to absorb, block, and neutralize EMFs. Some examples include black tourmaline, fulgurite, and shungite. Oh, here, actually, we'll just pass that around. That's one of the things we use here. It's a little sticker that goes on your phone. We'll talk more about it here in a minute. But it reduces cell phone radiation exposure by 70%. R2Ls, it's called radiation to light. So what this does is it turns some of the radiation into harmless light. So you can actually see it working. Very interesting here. This is also made by the same company that makes the lasers, both of the lasers that we use in this office. So they know a little bit about frequency and wavelength and radiation. So we use these frequently. That's called an R2L. We'll talk about more of that later. And here's another little thing we use. And we've got, I'll talk more about these. But this is called a little EMF neutralizer. This is the only device I know that spits out a frequency to harmonize or to, I should say, eliminate or neutralize some of the bad stuff. So you spit out a good frequency to eliminate some of the bad stuff. Kind of an interesting concept. You just turn it on and it blinks, stays on for 10 minutes. You have it in your pocket a couple times a day. Very simple, very simple. So we'll talk more about that. I just wanted you to get an idea of some of this stuff. Protection crystals, tourmaline, fulgurite, shungite. Put crystals on Wi-Fi devices, microwaves, or other small appliances that aren't as mobile as cell phones or tablets. I've got certain things. I've got a couple of these on my phone. Every tablet and every computer in this office, I think, has some kind of device or devices on all of them. Next. EMF blocking stickers, like what I just showed you here. Well, here, I'll just pass this around. That's R2L. And here's, pass that around too. So most EMF blocking stickers are about the size of a quarter, can be placed directly on the back of your cell phone, tablet, computer, or any other small device to combat harmful EMF radiation. These protective stickers can block EMFs and or release negative ions, which neutralize positive ions emitted from your device. So an ion is just a charged particle. It's like something with a +1 or a +2 or a -1 or a -2 charge to it. Like, think of it this way, in your blood, that's the little placard for the R2L. But like in your blood, your iron holds oxygen, and that's how your blood carries oxygen throughout your body. In plants, it's the same exact molecule, but there's not an iron in the middle of that hemoglobin. There's chlorophyll. There's magnesium. Plants have chlorophyll. We have blood. That's why eating green plants is the obvious best thing you can do. So here's your blocking stickers. That's another thing that you can do to decrease the EMFs emitted from your device. Next. Yeah, very lightweight, easy to place on your devices. The slender design of a sticker allows a no-fuss way to enhance your protection against EMFs. Very easy. Those things are very, very simple. The R2Ls, you can peel them off, put them on your next phone, peel them off, put them on your next phone. Next. So reduce your exposure. So you can decrease, if you're going to live with a cell phone, which most of you are, although I'm getting very close to just going back to flip phone days or pre-flip phone days, getting a little tired of all this technology. But you're not going to get rid of your cell phone, most people are not, but you can eliminate some of the crap that you're dealing with, but then you can also reduce your exposure. So like with your cell phone, here are some things that I think, was that you? The previous, yeah. So this is just some of the stuff I mentioned here. Hey, put your phone on airplane mode when you sleep. If you sleep and your phone is right here next to your bed as your alarm clock, what's happening to your brain? Right? So put that thing on airplane mode, your alarm will still go off. And believe me, if you're sleeping, you don't need to be receiving texts or phone calls. What kind of emergency is going to happen, really? I mean, really, what kind of emergency is going to happen? But put it on airplane mode when you sleep. Avoid keeping it on you all the time. I do not walk around for 8, 10, 12 hours a day doing this with my phone on me. It's disrespectful to patients. I'm not going to do it. And nothing is more important than what I'm doing right then with that person. I don't need my phone on me. So use speakerphone to increase distance between your head. In other words, keeping your phone right here, I never talk on the phone like this. If people can't hear me when I'm on speaker, I just don't talk. I'll call you back later. I don't cook my brain. You know, in the manuals for the phones, it tells you that you're not supposed to hold it next to your head. It's a phone, right? It's a phone. So avoid apps that keep you on your phone, like Instagram and Facebook. What are you doing there anyway? I mean, there is some stuff. Oh, I misspelled that. I'm sorry. Get that crap off your phone. They're tracking you. They're tracking you. Set your phone to limit the amount of time spent on these apps. Use an old-fashioned navigation system like, you know what? It would be great for everybody in this room to remember how to read a map. Put an atlas in your car just in case the grid goes down, you know. Now, I will say this. We have 4 reasons for our very strict cell phone policy in this office. And this is something that most people don't even know. But if I see somebody out in the front lobby, and the girls are instructed too, if there's somebody in the front lobby sitting there playing on their phone, we go and we grab the little placard thing and it says, no phones in this office. It says, read a book, learn something while you're here. Use your time wisely because there are people dying because they don't know what you're learning. There's a sign. There's a sign in every room. When we walk people down the hall, what do? We have them put their phones in the cubby holes. Why? Because if I'm seeing 50, 60, 80, 100, who knows, how many people a day, and their phone goes off, and they have to get up to go shut their phone off, how much time do I waste? Really? Plus, I don't want to hear that stupid ringtone of somebody calling you in the middle. I just don't, you know? Here's another reason. I don't want to be recorded. Here's another reason. At least not by Siri and Alexa. I don't mind being recorded by this, but I just don't want, and here's another reason, number 3 reason. I don't want everybody in this office, we live in this office like 8, 10, 12 hours a day. I don't want the girls to be subjected to another 50, 60, 70 people's phones coming in and out of this office, right? 4th reason, There's much better things to do than sit there on your phone. You should read a book. You should watch some of the documentaries, some of the things we play in the office, so there's a very strict cell phone policy. So if people come in and I go up to them and I lift up the sign and I go, get off the phone. I mean it. And that's why. It's not because we're trying to be mean, it's because we're trying to get you off of this. That's it. Because no one else, can anyone in this room name another place that has a policy like that about their cell phone? Anybody? Raise your hand. Huh?
Private homes.
Private homes, yeah. But can you think of a place of business that tells you get off your stinking phone? No, and you won't. Why? Because they're afraid. They're afraid to tell you that. They're afraid to confront you with the idea that you are throwing your life away on a digital screen that's making you sick. But while you're here, read a book, read something, watch something that will change your life. That's all. That's all we're saying. So, reduce your exposure. Part 2, computer. Charge your computer in a separate room. Don't use it while it's on the charger. Set computer hours. Give yourself several hours away from your computer after work. I do that all the time. I get home from here. I've been talking all day. I don't want to talk to anybody. I go out on my patio. I read. I read biblical stuff every day for at least 30 to 40 to 50 minutes before I do anything. I get up in the morning. I do the same thing. First thing in my head, last thing, like right when I get home. Because you have got to replace all the distractions in this world with something that's real. The Bible, primarily, yes? Or books on the Bible, I find fascinating as well. So set computer hours. Give yourself several hours. Get off the screens. So when people come here and they're in a place of healing, and they're in a place of heavy, heavy, heavy information, and they're still sitting there on a phone arguing with somebody on Facebook that they don't like. Give me that phone. I'll take that phone right out of your hand. Put the damn phone down. Read paperback books instead of using a Kindle or your computer.
Yes, amen.
Buy them while you can. So many people tell me, man, I haven't read a book since I was in grade school. I wouldn't admit that to anybody, dude. I wouldn't admit your ignorance. I wouldn't tell anybody that. We have people read books here. Why do we have people read books here? You learn something. How am I going to do it in 15 minutes a week or 30 minutes a week? How am I going to replace 20, 30, 40, 50 years of brainwashing just by talking to you and telling you what to eat for breakfast? It's not very effective, is it? So that's,
Mark and remember.
yeah, so you can mark it, so you can highlight it, so you can read it again, you can go back and why do you think we do these videos? Has anybody in this room gotten value out of these videos?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Has anybody in this room sent them to other people?
yes.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why we do these videos. Am I getting paid to do these videos?
No.
Am I actually paying people to be here to do these videos?
Yes.
So
Yes, I am.
back then.
I am. Yeah, so thank everybody who's here, and especially thank Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan.
I think he's, yeah, John, woo! Yeah, say what?
We're not pulling the plug and walking out.
Yeah, right, yeah, exactly. Thank you. Last guy I had doing this, I said something he didn't like, he pulled the plug, walked out.
Really?
And this was when the first thing went down. This was in March of last year. And when I called it, and I said what was going to happen. I said, this is what's going on. This is who's behind it. This is where we're going. He just turned it all off. Yeah, so Jonathan's not doing that. But I'll tell you what, Jonathan's making the most money out of all of us right now. Okay, Wi-Fi. Here's reduce your exposure. So that's why we do this. We don't do this to cause problems. We do this to solve problems, people. Reduce your exposure. Next slide, Jonathan. Pay attention. I had to get him back. No, he's a good spirit. I love it. But yeah, turn your Wi-Fi off at night when you're not using it. Avoid smart appliances like TVs and refrigerators. I don't know why your refrigerator needs to talk to anything. Use wired connection instead of Wi-Fi. This also helps to keep your internet usage down to compartmentalize your work time at home. You got to have downtime. Okay. Smart meters. I won't spend a whole lot of time on this, but just know this. Smart meters are devices that record your electrical energy and gas usage. They are constantly running and gathering data. They emit EMFs in and around your home. They are the thing on the back of your house or whatever that has the little, used to have the little analog meter that spun around. Now it's all digital. They can read it from a long way away. It saves them a lot of time. However, they're more accurate, but this is why electric companies have been installing them in modern homes. You don't want one of these. You can get out of this, especially in Tennessee. You got a smart meter in your home. You can request that your energy supplier revert back to an electric meter. These requests are typically denied, but you can pay a little bit more and get it out of your house. If you do not have a smart meter yet, don't get one. If you're unsure as to whether or not you have a smart meter, your energy company can let you know. And then so those are just a couple ways, okay, of reducing your exposure. But smart meters are a big deal. Stay away from crappy appliances, stay away from Bluetooth, everything. I hope somebody's working on a Bluetooth air fryer figuring out why that is for me, because I'm dying to know.
I guarantee it's because you can adjust the temperature on an app, but that's
But why?
pointless. Well,
It's
'cause
pointless,
I can
right?
get where come home and turn it on the way
I
home.
think it's mainly because they put a $2 chip into it,
Yeah,
and then
they can charge you more.
they can charge you more. I think that's
Well,
really
yeah,
what it is.
yeah. But I'm saying, like, is it that important
No,
that,
it's
like,
not.
your air fryer has to have?
For those that don't want to have any exercise, so they'll get up and go do it yourself.
Yeah, you don't have to get off the couch to shut off the air fryer. That's what it is. That's what it is. Jeez, why didn't I see that?
Remote controls, you know?
Unbelievable. I can't believe that slipped past me, Cliffy. Oh my God. So enhance your defenses. So
He's my
if
husband.
that's why he's your husband. That's right.
She sends me to the kitchen to do it.
She doesn't need Bluetooth. She's got Cliffy. Oh my God. Oh, Cliffy, turn off the air fryer, Cliffy. I love you. Oh my God, to be a fly on the wall. You know that happens too. Okay, so enhance your defenses. Get rid of the bad stuff, increase the good stuff. Boost your defenses. Grounding or earthing. We just talked about this. PEMF. Get your bare feet on the earth. If you make that connection with nature, it neutralizes the positive electrical charge that EMFs induced in your body. So you're dissipating. You're dissipating stuff. You're grounding yourself to the earth. Remember, shoes will kill the white man. When you step on the earth, the electrons naturally occurring on the ground help balance the energy in your body. Research shows that grounding can result in better sleep, reduce stress. EMFs emit such harsh frequencies that grounding simply isn't enough to counteract them. So that's why we use PEMF. One of the biggest reasons we use PEMF, the thing that sold me on it, yes, you can help with broken bones. Yes, you can help with sprained ankles. Yes, you can help with suicidal thoughts. Yes, you can, what's it called? Abscesses and cancel root canals and all this miraculous stuff. Yes, you can do that. But the biggest thing that sold me on it was dissipating the effects of EMF, because what did I see coming? A lot of 5G. Yes, you can help EMF. Yes, you can help broken bones and all this stuff. But the biggest thing was mitigating the effects of what I knew was coming. So the most powerful way to neutralize these frequencies is to start with your own energy field. Enhance your defenses. What has the media never been talking about with this virus, the hoax, the thing, the crap that's going on? They've never been telling you, boost your defenses, have they? Never mentioned a word about vitamin D, never mentioned a word about food, they said, nope, even drugs. This is the first time I've ever seen them cannibalize themselves. No ivermectin, no hydroxychloroquine. It was crazy. The only fix for this is an injectable bioweapon. It's the only fix. Crazy, isn't it? And people fall for it. So you got to increase your own energy field, decrease poisons from food, air, water, drugs, vaccines, personal care products, all that crap I mentioned at the beginning. People are irradiated, people are, glyphosated, people are all that. Eat real food. God has given us every solution to every disease. How many of you believe that? Every solution to every disease. They've demonized the plants while they're synthesizing synthetic CBD. Isn't that crazy? They've demonized the plants, and they're selling you chemicals made by atheists in a laboratory. Harvested off of dead children. Jesus. Including all of those, God has given us every solution, including all of those that are or will be man-made. Where's your faith? Or where's your fear? Where's your faith, right? If all disease is a lack of energetic balance in the body, restoring health through chiropractic, where you stimulate energetic response into their joints, detoxification, where you get the bad stuff out, nutrition, where you get the good stuff in, and pulse, where you put shoes on the white man and you take them off, right? It makes logical sense. Nutritional supplements and essential oils can also be used to offset the effects of EMFs and do everything from reprogram your DNA to make you smell good. Cliffy, Cliffy, we make you smell good.
She does that.
So nutritional supplements and oils are powerful, powerful, powerful things. I've taught 5, 6, 7 classes on essential oils. They're all on our Divine Design Royal Oilers Facebook page. They're all on in multiple places. But the power of essential oils combined with the power of plant and animal-based whole food nutrition, combined with liquid homeopathics, and combined with liquid herbals, and even some of the stem cells that we use, we're your place, honey bunny. Those nutritional supplements and essential oils are so powerful. Nothing will stand in the way of the stuff God created already. Amen. Nothing. Nothing man can make in a laboratory. I will go to my deathbed saying that. Nothing man can make in a laboratory can cancel out what God already created. Period. Period. It's crazy. So, enhance your defenses, balance your energy, get your stuff up, get your immune system up here. Next. Is that a? Oh no. Oh yeah. Commercial break. Yes. You ready? Are you ready for this? Everybody, give Amanda a hand. Isn't she doing great? Come on up.
All right. So this testimonial, when asked, how were you before? They said, I was lousy. I had constant fatigue, and I couldn't smell for over 18 months. Interesting. This is a new patient here. They said that within 30 minutes of their first foot spa here, they could smell the leaves outside. Wow. And after 1 week, they said they don't fall asleep in the middle of the afternoon anymore, which they had been doing for months, and they don't grunt and groan when they get up.
They don't, what was the last thing?
Grunt and groan when they have to get up out of bed or off the couch or anywhere
grunting
else.
and groaning. Isn't that great? Oh, I'll never forget one of the first times a miraculous crazy thing happened on a foot spa. We had a stroke patient who was seeing double, and halfway into the foot spa, halfway in, he said, hey, man, is this supposed to change my vision? And I said, well, I don't know. That kind of depends. What happened to your vision? He said, if it's good, yes. If it's bad, no. But he said, when I first walked in here, I was seeing double because he'd had a stroke like a few weeks before. Nothing related to anything. It was a medical thing. And he said, my vision went from double vision to single vision. Wow. While on the foot spa. That's how powerful, that's how ionic detoxification works. So, all right, let's do a couple more memes. Meme what you say what you meme, and then I'll give you all the take-home stuff, like what you got to do, okay? Just one more, sir. Life will go back to normal. Trust us, we're the government. Year's 2030. It's so sad. Here we go. I'll read this one for the ones in the back. Some people wouldn't know tyranny if it covered their faces, locked them in their homes, enacted the biggest wealth transfer in history, censored them, made them show papers, and force medicated them.
Oh my God.
Whenever I see a face diaper, it tells me something about that person.
Oh, yeah.
They're no longer doing it out of, here, I'll just say it. If they really believed that these things worked, they would never leave their home. That's true. They would never leave. Next. Oh, it's gross, but it's funny, and you know it. Oh, I'll just let that sink in. Remember how I told you I was always fascinated with war and fascinated at how it is. You know what I mean? Because I grew up with such an awe-inspiring fascination with people who would do this. Just an absolute reverence. There's a gentleman who started as a patient recently, and he's a Vietnam veteran. And I just said, man, thank you for your service. I always have felt such a pull and such a kind of a, man, I don't know, like an admiration, such an appreciation for those who served in Vietnam, particularly. I don't know why the Vietnam thing just affects me, but maybe it was because some of the movies and the things I saw as a kid. I did a term paper when I was in 6th grade on the Vietnam War. And man, it blew my mind. The tunnel rats and the stuff that these guys had to do, unconventional warfare that had never been done before. And it just blew my mind. And I learned so much. I did that term paper for months, and it was only like a 2-week project. It was crazy, but I loved that. I loved learning about it, and it just fascinated me. He's a veteran of Vietnam. But this right here, I mean, I saw this one months ago, and I said, that's exactly what I've said for almost 2 years. I've said people died at Normandy, and they're hiding behind a desk, afraid to die of a respiratory thing, when all they need to do is take care of themselves and boost their immune system and trust the God that made them. And these guys, they were peeing themselves going across those waters. That makes me, it's reverence, but it's sickness right here. I'm sick of this. And I'm sick of the pastors that don't say anything because they're getting money from the government to shut down. I'm sick of that. That makes me want to puke. Unbelievable. Oh. Oh my God. Oh. Oh yeah. I figured somebody here knew. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. We could just appreciate that for another couple minutes. Memes are just the art form of my new favorite art form is memes. Okay, so here's the personal solutions. I split these into personal things that I do and that you can copy, and then I split them into like, what do we do here? What do we do at Divine Design? Here we go. Reduce use. I do not carry my phone during the day. I already told you that. You should do the same. Well, I can't. Find a way. Yeah, you can. You did before. You can do it. I believe in you. Increase distance from the phone and other EMF sources. So look around where you spend your day. Are you sitting 3 feet away from a router? Are you constantly talking like this? That's an easy fix. Put it on speakerphone, you know. Favor hardwired connections over wireless. You can do an easy search online and figure out what you need to hook up to hardwire your computer rather than go wireless all the time. Number 4, use a dumb phone more smartly.
Oh, yeah.
You guys still have dumb phones. Use neutralizer or blocker. The neutralizer, the thing I passed around, or the R2L blocker. I just use those because I know the companies that make them, and they happen to know a little bit about frequency and wavelength. And so the neutralizer and the blocker, I've seen a lot of stuff out there. I also have another couple things I'll tell you about here in a minute at the very end. Certain wearable devices are becoming a big industry now, and I have a few of them, and I'm trying to figure out which ones are the best. I'm conducting some experiments right now, but we can talk about that. But you ought to have a wearable device on you at all times. I have this right here. This is called a Harmony pendant. There's Defender pendants, and there's all kinds of other stuff. But I always wear this. Always, always, always. Does it work? Oh, no. I'm figuring it out. I'll let you know. But use airplane mode at night. And you pray. You know what? The best thing you should do is you should pray. And say, you know what, Lord? You made good EMFs. I believe that your EMFs can block out the bad EMFs that man made, and it will cause me no harm. No plague shall come near thy dwelling. That includes man-made plagues.
Yep.
Use airplane mode at night. You don't need to get a call anyway in the middle of the night. You can thank me for all the sleep that you just got. Rest well. Unplug clocks and breakers. This is the biggest thing too. You can use an EMF blanket. Not necessary, but if all of your defenses are up here, the need for some of this stuff goes bye-bye, right? But this is the big thing. Look above, below, and around where you sleep. I will never forget. I pulled into my house one day, and there were like 4 or 5 satellite dishes, like 4 feet away from where I slept. Like I would see I saw where my bed was, or at that point it was my futon, and I saw that my head was right like 3 feet away from 4 satellite dishes coming into the top of where I lived at the time. It was nuts. So look around, above, below, and around where you sleep. You might be sleeping on the second story, but you might have some wires and some things coming in the router right under where you're sleeping, and you might not even know that that's affecting your sleep. That's one of the most overlooked things. You'll never hear that in a lot of places. You can shield your home. You can do certain things on the glass. You can even buy like EMF paint. It's very expensive, but the industry is growing. You can even hire people who are called building biologists to come in and like assess your where you're at and assess what they would do to decrease your EMF exposure. Some people with autistic kids and very electro-hypersensitive people they're figuring stuff out. Like, hey, we need to put a canopy, a Faraday cage over the kid's bed so he doesn't scream and make shrieking noises for 24 hours. So it's kind of becoming this new industry of things. And then number 8, use radioprotective clothing and sleep sanctuary. That's kind of what I talked about with the Faraday cage. So personal solutions, I do most of these. I do not shield my home, and I do not use, there are radioprotective clothing lines out there I've looked into. I haven't done any of them yet. I haven't bought any of them yet. But just know that this comment, like there's radioprotective paint, radioprotective, clothing, stuff you put on your windows. It's nuts. Radioprotective siding. I mean, it's nuts. There's a lot of stuff out there. So I do most of those. Those are some personal solutions. And here's 9. Avoid all sources of metals. Know this. Metals act as antenna for EMFs. When we talked about the previous things, the scientific literature that talked about all of the big things that were happening, fertility and nervous system problems, this was huge. Metals, a lot of things came out in the last 10, 20 years about metals. What is one of the biggest constituents of vaccines? Heavy metals. Lots of them. Mercury, lead, aluminum, lots of them, not just one of them. So metals act as antenna for EMFs. And we just mentioned that one of the biggest sources that contain metals is what? Vaccines. Think about it. Where else are metals located? Drugs. Where else are metals located? Municipal water. So if these are a big antenna for EMFs, you want to avoid all sources of them. Dispersed metals in the body make the body absorb more radiation than a healthy person. Remember what I said about the state of health influences how much they're going to absorb? Titanium implants are perfect receivers for 5G. If you want to glow, use no amalgams, the black fillings in your head. People with a lot of amalgam fillings, they start literally hearing voices in their heads because they're a tuned-in antenna right next to your ear, your molars, right? Titanium gold crowns and root canals. Stay away from root canals. Stay away from as much of this stuff as you can. Understand that since number 10 right there is no elimination by escape. Your only hope is avoidance and limiting exposure. You cannot escape into a deserted country or an island in the Caribbean somewhere because they're everywhere. 5G's everywhere. You can't get away from it. Your only hope is avoid it and limit your exposure. Just like when I'm telling people about crappy food and crappy water and stuff like that. You can't get away from it all the time. You can only limit your exposure to it. So that's personal solutions right there. Well, hold questions for we're almost done. We'll be done in like 5 minutes. So hold questions. I told her to shut up a little while ago. I got to tell everybody equally to shut up. Understand? No elimination by escape. Okay, so next. And we can come back to the slide. We can come back to the slide if we have to. Detoxify your pineal gland right here. There are 4 things that screw up your pineal gland. You might want to know this. Your pineal gland is right here. People refer to it as your third eye. People refer to it as the thing that keeps you spiritually aware, right? There are only 4 things that we know of, that humans know of, you might want to know this, that screw up your pineal gland. Here they are. Fluoride, aluminum, glyphosate, and electromagnetic fields.
Is that what they call the God gene?
No, the God gene. No, the pineal gland is a gland in the middle of your brain. So, detoxify it and protect it from EMFs. We can rebuild your pineal gland. How? Supplements, food, plants, animals, oils, liquids, herbals, homeopathics. Your body has to rebuild it all the time anyway, doesn't it? If it's in your body, it has to be rebuilt, right? So we can use ionic detox, ionic detoxification foot spas. If you're new here, when you get a tour here in a few minutes, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about, what these actually are. You sit in a tub, you sit down, and you put your feet in a tub of hot water. Your feet sweat, and then your body pumps your blood through your feet 7 or 8 times through an ionic field, and your blood picks up a charge that's then able to help you carry more blood to your internal organs and detoxify faster. What do I mean? A 600 to 900% reduction in heavy metals per your analysis. So like if you're chock full of lead and mercury and cadmium and arsenic and all this other crap, metals and chemicals and this and that, one thing, some of the research has just recently come out and shown is that when you do an ionic detoxification, you get a 600 to 900% higher reduction in heavy metals, measured with a urinalysis before compared to a urinalysis after. So people ask, well, what do the foot spas really do? That's one thing that they do, right? Infrared sauna therapy. When you sweat things out, what happens? You get healthier. You're detoxing, right? You're getting better every day. PEMF therapy. What was the main reason why I got 4, not 1, not 2, but 4 of those pulse electromagnetic field therapy units to help people? Well, because once people realized what it did, the first one was so busy, I had to get a second one. And then the second one got so busy that I had to get a third one, a portable one, so people could rent it and take it home. And then the third one got so stinking busy that I realized I didn't have one for myself. That was the problem. Said, well, why is everybody else using it? I'm not using it. Well, shoot, we gotta offset the chronic exposure to EMFs. And number one way to do it, pulse electromagnetic field therapy. And you'll see what that is too. Other things, nutritional detoxification. We have 4 or 5 different ways here to detoxify you. And then nutritionally, add another 2 or 3 or 4 ways, and then we've got so many different products to detoxify different parts of your body. It's easy to do. You can do coffee enemas. You can do a nutritional detoxification, dietary, lifestyle modification. There's a bunch of different ways we can detoxify you, but nutritionally, we detoxify by changing your diet, and then we do a purification program with you for 21 days. Changes your entire diet. If you're a patient in here, you've done the purification program, raise your hand. Everybody who's a past patient, everyone who's a current patient, you're getting ready to. You just don't know it yet. Essential oils protect your DNA and flush heavy metals and toxins from your body. Use them. Essential oils, God's medicine. Essential oils were in the Bible for 6,000 years, for the first 6,000 years of human creation, right? And then at the very beginning, right? And then they were gone for 2,000 years from Jesus to about the present day. Why were they hidden? Think about that. That's the power of essential oils. That's why essential oils are so powerful. God's medicine, right? So essential oils protect your DNA and flush heavy metals and toxins from your body, right? And they can heal you. Why did Jesus have frankincense and myrrh and, sandalwood, aloes, all this stuff? Keep going. We're almost done. Number 7, we educate you on these toxins and how to avoid them. Metal detox is an absolute must to surviving the upcoming times. Why? Because metals are everywhere. The toxic nanoparticle nanobots, gene modification therapy, the microscope analysis of the vaccines show what? Little chunks of metal and circuit boards in the vaccines. You can tell people, they still might have a hard time believing you. You got to survive the upcoming times. You do not want to be dependent on pharmaceuticals or a doctor's prescription pad coming soon, because you will have to have a vaccine to get your Lipitor. Mark my words, put it down, put it on a calendar. They're not going to let you walk in the CVS or the Rite Aid or the Walgreens unless you're vaccinated. So you will be dependent on a system where now you have to have drugs. And people, when they start thinking that one of their drugs is life-saving, even though there's no such thing, what are they going to do? When they start thinking that they have to have, they're going to get the shot. They start thinking that they have to have the asthma inhaler. They start thinking that they have to have the Lipitor or my head's going to explode. You're dependent on them. We use EMF neutralizers and radiation to light. That's what that stands for. Radiation blockers for tablets, phones, computers. A few other things too we can talk about. I need to update this. Using natural health solutions, prepare for the second wave. It will be real next time. First time was fake. This time, it's going to be real. And they're already telling you what it's going to be. If you read it, if you read what they're sending, right? They're already talking about what disease?
Smallpox. What is it? Oh.
They're already talking about it. It's going to be bad. I'm telling you. You do not want to be running to Walgreens to get your Lipitor. We do and have done telehealth since long before this fakeness. We're ready to help anyone anywhere. See our testimonials. We can help your friends and family over the internet. If your medical doctor can prescribe an antibiotic to you from 4,000 miles away, can't we test you and figure out what you need using energy medicine? And by looking at your symptoms and by knowing your physiology, knowing what drugs you're on, knowing what organs they've already ripped out of you, knowing how they were planning to kill you, we can look at what you're currently doing and change it. It's up to you, a sovereign individual, whether you continue to take the toxic, poisonous, pharmaceutical, petrochemical poisons. No one's forcing you, at least right now, with a gun to your head. No one is forcing you. People always ask me, when can I stop taking my pills? And whenever you want. I don't decide it. You decide it. You're the one that's been poisoning yourself for 45 years every day because they got inside your head, spoke a demonic curse over you, and made you afraid of death. It's true. I know it's true. But your pastors are sicker than anybody else, so you haven't been taught this. Your pastors are sending people to go get chemo and radiation and praying for sister so-and-so and brother so-and-so because his liver enzymes are high. And we got to pray for the atheist doctors that are working on them because they're gods in white coats, right? That's how sickened we've been. The church is sickened. I go to churches around here and I see more handicap spots than Walmart. I'm not kidding. I wish I was exaggerating. So we do telehealth. Just because these guys are throwing drugs at you through a screen, through a Zoom call, can we do the same thing? Yeah, but we won't give you stuff that'll kill you. We'll give you stuff that'll build you. How's that sound? B-U-I-L-D. Okay? So we use, So we've done telehealth for quite some time. Now, here's the slide. So, so here, get a neutralizer. This is what I've done. This is what I would do. I've got one for car, one for home. I got a neutralizer. They're regularly like about $300. You can get an R2L for free. R2Ls, buy 3, get 1. So you can stuff them in people's stockings and, hide them in their glove box or, put them in a love letter or do whatever you want to do. I just want to give you guys some specials. In January, we're going to be doing the standard process purification. For anybody who wants to get on board, we'll do 20% off for patients and their family members. I think that's a heck of a deal. Merry Christmas to you, right? And then buy 4, get 1 deals that are for current patients that if they're already current patients, you already have the buy 4, get 1 deals on foot spas and saunas, foot baths and infrared sauna therapy. So, but for new patients, we'll do that too, at least we'll do this up until probably the 1st of December, most of this stuff. And then telehealth for friends and family. So there's some specials right there. If you have any questions about any of that stuff, ask Nadia. She can steer you in the right direction. She knows, she's got the okay on everything, all these deals for everybody who's here, because I knew we were going to have a heck of a crowd. All right. That's it for me. Questions. First, you had a question, Grace.
I forgot now. You're gonna fix that though.
Microphone. Say what? You had a question? No?
I forgot.
Ah, you forgot. You had a question.
I have a couple questions,
Microphone.
When you were talking about metals, does that mean that the colloidals, like colloidal silver and colloidal gold, is that included?
No.
So how does that not activate?
You're talking about elemental colloidal silver versus contaminated, massive chunks of inorganic silver. So, and it's ionic. So it's not silver, elemental silver, it's ionic silver.
So it's okay
So it's
to
a
take
charged
that.
silver. Colloidal silver is great. Well, it depends. I can't say it's all great. I can't say that. There's some commercially available silver I wouldn't do. And anything that says nano on it, I would stay away from anything that says nano. You don't want
Really?
anything nano. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, you
good
can
to
do
know.
whatever you want, but I stay away from anything that says nanotechnology. Yes.
What kind of brand then, or what would you recommend for the
For silver?
colloidals and gold?
We have silver here. We have Protocol for Life silver. I don't do anything nothing we do here is store-bought. Anything that we do here is like professional healthcare professional license only. So any of the stuff we do here will not be located or available in a store or commercial chain. So I use Protocol for Life silver.
Protocol for life. Okay.
Yep. 10 parts per million. I don't do
Okay.
anything higher than that.
All
But some
right.
people will say, you got to have 20,000 parts per million, or you got to have this and that, blah, blah, blah. It's not about the amount of silver. And think about it. If it's an ionic silver, an ionic colloidal silver at 10 parts per million, it's very small. Most people think more is better. Not necessarily. No. It's particularly with ionic silver. A lot of people will say, they want 20,000 parts per million, blah, blah, blah. What we're using here is 10 parts per million. Very small concentration. It's not about the amount of silver, it's about the charge of the silver. So that's something that you won't really hear. Because silver is positive, very bad bacteria are negative. So when a positive silver hits a negative bacteria, what happens? Cancels it out. That's how it works.
And my other question was about the vaccine. So for those who have gotten it, I have a lot of close friends that have gotten it. So are they, since they have to keep going back,
Yeah, that's
does
the
that
point.
mean that it eventually dissipates if they don't keep going back?
No, that means that eventually kills them. That's
So
the way it
it's
was
like-
designed.
Is there a way that
So the
people
question
can-
was, she's got a lot of friends and family members who got the shot, and so they have to keep going back for the boosters, right? And she's asking, is that because that's the way it works? No, that's the way it kills them.
Is there a way for them to detoxify from it?
Yeah, but they have to want to.
So they can detoxify.
Well,
from
I don't know. It depends. You saw what I was talking about. Like everybody has a different level of health. I mean, can their body detoxify from some of it? Yeah. Can their body detoxify from all of it? No way. Not if they keep getting boosters. No. I mean, there's some things that once it's there, and these guys didn't invest all of this time and energy and money to make it into nanoparticles that could lodge into your brain and spinal cord so that you could just easily pee them out. These guys are 50, 60 years of technology ahead of all of us. This is demonically demented. This is demonically crafted in the pits of Sauron's living hell. So they're not going to make it easy for these people to detox. This is something that we've been preaching for a long time. I think I'm going to shut the cameras off now. We'll talk about this a little bit more. But hey, next week, or is it 2 weeks away? 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So 2 weeks, it's hands in the air. We're going to talk about stratospheric aerosol geoengineering. We're going to talk about what you would affectionately refer to as chemtrails. And what everyone in your family would probably think you're crazy for believing. We're going to prove it to you with government patents, websites, and just go outside and look up in the sky. Look up in the sky, and when you see those checkerboards, those ain't clouds, woman. Those are not clouds. But we will see in 2 weeks, it's hands in the air, and it's going to be, oh, look up at the sky. And we'll talk about that. And then the 2 weeks, or a week after that is a water class. So, hey, Dr. Brett Spradlin, Divine Design, Natural Health. We'll see you in a little while. So